What are you thinking here?
So I was trying to make sense of this last pick Lesh. The panel was talking about some of the elements, and the thing that came to mind for me is that a very big part of what the Slark support has been able to do is just change the makeup of team fights through the Shard, the Depth Shroud. And Leshrac, in theory, should be the single hero in Dota that has the most AoE damage that you cannot block with Depth Shroud. So I think that might have played a role in this pick, and also it's a staple for Bryle. He's Grandmaster T on this hero. He has played it a million times. And maybe on top of that, like they talked about the matchup against Monkey King, perhaps he's comfortable with this one. It can go both ways, like Jenkins said, but at that point, you know, if you're super experienced, you've probably been in lots of different situations in that lane, and maybe you're more likely to pull out the W there instead of falling behind against no one, who is absolutely no... He's not a joke on Monkey King, let me tell you that.
Yeah, he is definitely a beast. Kind of had a dip in his career a few years back, but he has come back with a vengeance, that is for sure. As we're going to see the Bounty Rune fight start the game, or just a walk away, in fact. Everybody's just going to trade them out. But yeah, it's good to see Leshrac back into the meta, as Insane is going to take a bit of right-click damage. Not sure this is going to turn into anything, though. So he went for the Misanthropy facet on Lesh, so the Diabolic Edict will do a ton of damage, but will not damage buildings. But looking at their lineup, they still have a lot of push potential.
Yeah, and whenever you're playing against Misanthropy in the mid lane as either a slow hero or a mid hero, you need to constantly be cognizant of the creep wave. When the creep wave is about to die, that's when Lesh can really run you down. Speaking of running down, Nineclass getting smacked here by Insania. A little bit of reciprocation, though. Yep. But yeah, this will be an interesting lane for me to watch. I think on paper, this should be just flat out strictly Liquid favored, but let's see if Nineclass can do a little bit of magic here with some wave manipulation. Actually kind of annoying for Insania here. These two melee creeps. Nineclass will also pull the next wave now, and Insania will try to connect these two waves and avoid what Paravision is trying to do by repositioning the lane here. And I think for the most part he's successful. He's actually taking a beating though.
Yeah, Astral Spirit comes back with a bit of damage, but you don't want to really get in a right-click battle as a melee hero against the Slark necessarily. Those Essence Shift stacks, we might be seeing that right here.
Oh!
In fact, that is just first blood, very casual for Nineclass.
Yeah, Insania forgot Blood Grenade exists. Just thinking back to the good old days.
Oh, thank God we have a pause. This game was going on so long, we didn't have enough time for our podcast, of course, last time.
Oh, I need to take a breather. You take it from here.
For sure. Paravision versus Liquid here. Oh. What is the greatest thing that you have experienced in North Carolina so far, Cinderin?
It's been fun to play pickleball.
Yeah, that's right. I was hoping you'd say that.
Yeah, it's been fun.
That's a good, clean sport.
It's a fun sport, and you were also there.
That's true.
But yeah, the sport was great.
Good. Now we can get back to Dota, of course. That's what everybody came for.
The food has been awesome, too, by the way.
It has, actually, yeah.
It's been very good. It's been some of the best catering we've ever had.
Yeah, the catering, and I mean, the restaurants around the area. The city's been really nice, actually, in Raleigh.
Yeah. Very, very positive.
Can't complain, of course, other than when I'm in your presence, but that's another story entirely. So, who are you expecting to win this series just coming in without the drafts?
I think overall Paravision probably should have an edge. Just get Arma for handshake. That's good. I think Paravision probably has looked the overall strongest. Liquid series earlier today, I think they're warming up a little bit more, but to me they're not necessarily quite there. The series against Aviolus had a couple of moments where I feel like Liquid were being a little bit scrappy compared to the level when they're at their peak.
Right.
But it's by no means a series where I feel like one team is just way better. I think we're past that stage of the tournament now where you could say with confidence that a team is more than a 2-to-1 favorite. I don't really think there's going to be any of those series left. Yeah. Which is great. It's very good when the top 6 is this close together. It means it's very exciting every single time.
Yeah, and as always, we're getting to the juicy part of the tournament where the picks and bans become even more interesting, because then you have to make decisions that maybe you didn't think you'd have to make, like banning a Slark, for example, right? Yeah, as we can see a Shackle onto Satanic, but yeah, SaberLight taking the brunt of the damage here. We'll take another Stifling Daggers for his effort.
I'd imagine this lane becomes extremely difficult at level 3. I think you can somewhat float it a little bit as Beastmaster Windranger until that point. When you get the 2 points up in Stifle as well as the 2 point in Dual Breath, I think the overall harassment damage is just going to be way too much to deal with. But we'll see how SaberLight adjusts to this. He's queuing up Arcane Boots. So not a lane sustain item, but rather just a mana battery. Perhaps the reasoning here is that he thinks he and Boxy together, flat out by spamming, can sustain this lane with power shots and axes.
Yeah.
Remains to be seen, and it's very important when you go this route. The Arcane Boots build-up, it's okay, but you know, until the complete item is there, you're already out of mana now on both heroes, so it's going to be tough to continue spamming. Nice wave pull, though. SaberLight will manage to reposition the lane a little bit.
As a pounce will connect for Nineclass against the level 1 Insania right now. Gets the extra speed, though, with the Astral Spirit coming back. They'll give each other high fives, as per norm. They've been a little bit too polite for my taste in this beginning of this series. We'll see if that continues on, since this is, of course, an elimination match. And we got some real toxic players here, as always. Is Ducalis gonna get gone on here? Satanic actually jumps in to try to block them, but they're gonna lose their Jakiro, but the Boxy trade-off, 1-for-1, position 4 for position 4.
He needs to be careful. He needs to be careful with these birds. They give quite a lot of experience over to Satanic here, but a 1-for-1 trade. Can't say this top lane is going too bad, right? You're losing it. Gunnar was talking about it. PA, one of the absolute worst matchups for Beastmaster and lane, I think. In my book, probably one of the hardest. I would say the hardest on paper generally is considered to be Gyro, but this is definitely up there as well. And depending on the lane, it can be even worse because of the aggressive factor. And you can tell that Paravision is trying to play on that as much as they can. But now that the lane is in this position a little bit for SaberLight, actually he will be pushing the other way, but where will the waves meet? They will meet relatively far up. Now they're going to go into Stania again.
Yeah, they have the Blood Grenade and the Burrow Strike inside of the Sandstorm as well, and Stania is dead. Nineclass already showing why his Slark, his support Slark, mind you, is so difficult to deal with. And that is a good combo once you get them stuck inside that AoE.
It's so fascinating, isn't it? Like, that a team can have a player that plays this hero support and nobody's copying it.
Yeah.
Like, literally no other team has even tried it a single game, I think.
No
Maybe
one.
It's been one game.
Takes a lot of damage. Gets the Jingu stacks up as Bryle's going to have to pop the Fairy Fire just to survive here. You can see in the mid lane, 22-3 for Bryle right now, 21-4 for no one, so very even so far. And in terms of, I mean, gank potential for the supports, the Windrunner already made her way over. Does Paravision have the same kind of gank potential with a Slark?
I mean, it can be cute at nighttime, I guess, if you can find an angle and get a pounce and set up no one to get his ulti off, perhaps, on level 6. I suppose there is a play there, but I don't think it's particularly likely.
Oh, they're going for this. There's going to be TP coming in. They're going to dive with the Diabolic Edict. Power Shot's not going to hit. Bryle is just dead, and no one will survive through the day, which means Boxy takes a tumble, 2-for-0. Oh. Great rotation from Paravision.
I think when that Shackle Shot misses, you just call off the play. That seemed like a little bit of a desperate, naive dive. Of course, there's going to be some sort of TP rotation coming in from Paravision, and they get a very, very easy counterplay. You could also see the tip coming out there from Ducalis, kind of like, what are you guys doing? No. He was unimpressed with Liquid's choice to run that one down.
To say the least. And of course, Mickey and Insania not really able to take full advantage of DM being alone in the lane during that time. And Nineclass makes his way over again to the south. See what else he can work up here on. I mean, what do you buy on support Slark?
That's what's the beautiful thing about this hero is I think you can in theory buy almost anything in addition to Shard. So with the start that he's having, I like the treads. I think it's fine. It's going to give him a bit of farm efficiency with tread switching. It's going to give him better trading in fights. But then you're going to get Shard, and then you can buy everything from drums to Yule's Hex. We've seen him buy Yule's Hex in the game this tournament. I think something like, let's say, drums and even, I mean, if you want to go that direction, you could even get something like Pipe or Solar Crest for your teammates. The main way you play your hero is you're a vision bot running around fights, and then your Shard is super annoying, and you're hard to map against Bryle.
Bryle pounces there. Wukong's command because no one is level 6 here. Under the cover is Tier 1 Tower, and Stania is here. Blood Grenade applied as Nineclass will die, but first goes down for Bryle. Another death to his name, but no one, in the meantime, will get run down eventually by Insania. And while this is happening, Satanic taking advantage over SaberLight. In the net himself, his first kill.
That was such a big Diabolic Edict on death there from Bryle, allowing Insania to get that kill and effectively get himself into the game. Now 7 minutes are coming up. Looks to be an even trade here. Let's see if DM will be the one to take the nope, he won't. He's going to give it to Nineclass. They're prioritizing getting both supports the experience here. And it will be the same for Liquid with Boxy taking that. So relatively even, but feels like Paravision with the slightly better start at the very least. And that's a good sign when you're playing this laning Slark. You know, this is when the hero is arguably, and a lot of the times, at its weakest.
Yeah.
In this very early laning stage. So if you float this, and your Sand King has the same net worth as Beastmaster, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this is a hero. I feel like if they get dominated lanes, he's not going to provide too much throughout the game, but for Paravision, so far, so good.
Nineclass realizes here, he knows he's on a trap because of the Barracuda region fading, so he's going to not do the gate move. And now he'll get the trap, all right. It doesn't feel the greatest, I guess, using a sentry to remove this trap, but you want to have zone control down here so you have the freedom of movement, making that cross play possible in both directions. It's actually going to connect here onto Midgame.
Yeah,
he's not going to win this fight, so...
Yeah, I don't think so.
Get the hell out of there.
2-level advantage. He's going to be greeted by Insanity on the high ground right now. DM, he's going to be greeted by Bryle in turn. Nineclass looks to be going out for one more right click as the Wukong's command comes down to the other side. DM does get off his epicenter, but dies shortly after. It's just like that is 2 kills for Liquid. No one ends up kind of wasting his ult, although, does he actually want to stay here? Boxy makes his way to the other side of the ring. A power shot, that's a double kill. That is the execution power shot as Ducalis will drop as well. So a 3-for-1. Only Insania losing his life here for Liquid.
Yeah, very aggressive support plays here coming out from Paravision. Being punished. But still, if this remains the status quo, this will be a very big Phantom Assassin. So I wonder if Liquid are going to try to actually do something about this top lane at all. We haven't seen them take much initiative of, let's say, bringing Leshrac top for a play and taking advantage of the roar, or doing a double support smoke or anything of the likes. Maybe it's just too difficult right now. Their supporting cast doesn't exactly have the most damage between Windranger and Elder Titan at this point in the game before they get their ult. So I guess in order to kill the PA, you actually kind of have to bring a core together with Beastmaster. And the lanes and the vision that Slark is giving right now, it seems to be a little bit of a thorn in their side for the time being. Make will answer the questions of the panel, by the way. He'll go with Deso. No Mjolnir.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah, I mean, standard.
Yeah.
It would have been interesting to see the Mjolnir. He did kind of...
When you're playing support Slark 10 minutes in, what level do you want to be? Because he's level 4 right now.
As high as possible.
Okay, that's a terrible answer. That's a Cinderin answer,
dumb
actually.
Question.
Yeah, all right, that was a Sunfang question and a Cinderin answer.
Phrase it better, I'll answer it.
Okay, we're just going to forget that ever happened. There's a lot of ancient stacks here for
Slark's
SaberLight
level
to
5
take.
at minute 10. That's pretty all right. He would like to be level 6, of course.
Yeah, of course.
But, I mean, level 6 is kind of the dream almost, because this hero has a hard time getting experience. But 5's all right. Yeah, I think this is par for the course for Nineclass. This isn't a hero that needs to absolutely destroy and snowball like crazy in the early game. And also, keep in mind, what you saw right now is kind of the luxury of Slark in terms of getting experience. He's the best D-warding here in the entire game.
Yep.
And wards give a lot of experience. So it's kind of deceptive just how much he can get around the map as long as he runs the right paths, even without killing anything except wards. He could find himself half a level here and there.
Yeah, I would argue his value has gone up with this new map as it got bigger.
Yeah,
because it's so much harder to ward with all these. I mean, there's like only a couple cliffs in the game at this point.
And it's harder to catch him and set traps too.
Yeah.
So, definitely.
Definitely seeing some innovation. And not being able to watch people replay really helped the game, Cinderin. Of course, it's only been a couple weeks. But,
yeah, love people jumping to conclusions after 3 days. I think it's good.
Yeah, that's what we do in America. Get used to it.
Okay.
Nineclass still not quite level 6. Actually, this wave should give it to him, though. You can see a rotation coming from Liquid. Yeah, now the Shadow Dance at the ready.
It's actually unfortunate timing. They were kind of planning a play, it looked like, with Windranger and ET. But yeah, now Nineclass feels
mid lane. Yeah, the rotation from Liquid ends up not working in their favor. They lose Bryle again. That is his 3rd death.
And he's about to lose his tower as well. And Slark is kind of boxing them out. Boxer used his ulti on him. He's just kiting him. Oh, he even found another ward. Yeah. Delicious.
He is all over the place, this Slark. Well done from Nineclass so far. It feels like a lot of his value is already paid off in this game. It's just and it's a hero that scales really well.
You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of the phase when Boboka was playing position 4 Monkey King.
Ooh, Shackle does hit. Echo Stomp going to be dodged here from Noah. Nice miss. He's going to use the Wukong's command as DM on the outskirts just, yeah, they're just going to run away.
Zoning ult.
Tier 1 tower does survive, though, for Liquid. Sorry, you were saying, Cinderin.
No, I was just saying, if you remember when the whole courier hunting position for Monkey King was a thing,
Yep.
that was also something that kind of only one player and one team did at all, that entire tournament, and then it started getting banned because nobody could be bothered to deal with it and they couldn't learn it themselves. Nineclass is kind of in a similar position here with the support Slark, so it's pretty cool to see. It's a similar logic too, right? The way those heroes work. It's like moving around the map, uncontested, looking for vision, killing couriers, being annoying, getting information, and not needing too much. You can see we were talking about his itemization. Nineclass is looking at a Yule's angle.
All right, well, Liquid finds Jakiro, yeah. That is an Atos for Bryle, helping set that up, but the Primal Roar was also used. On the other side, though, Satanic does have Battle Fury. Pretty damn good time. He got about 45 seconds ago. And this with a Treads as well. He is, I mean, this is obviously one of the scariest heroes going into late game. If he gets off to this good of a start, give him a few more minutes and he can start fighting.
The hero matchup against TA is interesting too, because PA is a lot about the 1, 2, 3 shot burst, and TA can block a ton of that with refraction.
Satanic. Okay, he's actually going to get caught off here. Do they have the damage? Focus Fire is there. TP's coming. Nice Phantom Strike. He's just on the outskirts of the pole. The missed power shot, and now they're going to turn this around. Paravision on top of Bryle. So close yet so far. Another death for him. And Boxy still trying to snipe people out with that power shot, but he's going to be surrounded and taken out as well. So Paravision on top of that little engagement there.
Oh, that's a really expensive power shot miss. Because not only would they have killed Satanic, it could have potentially also saved one of their lives, because Satanic was able to turn around and go for a little bit of Stifling Dagger slow, and they couldn't really stand their ground either. So, big moment there with the turnaround, and more so than anything, Bryle really needed that kill. His game he's lowest net worth out of all the cores. And yeah, I mean, would you look at the net worth in general, Slark, just how much he's dwarfing everyone by in the support role.
Yep.
38 CS, obviously this hero can jungle quite effectively as long as you have mana. And by going the Yule build, as well as having a mana draft, Nineclass can farm quite a lot while getting information.
SaberLight gonna get slowed, gonna get Ice Path, and going to get killed. Gets off the Roar, but really to no avail. The Earth Splitter comes out from the rotation from Insania, but not sure if they can turn this into anything. The Wukong's command is still something they have to walk through. And they just give up right there. So 4K lead already for Paravision.
Under attack.
Yeah, I feel like there's some history there with that all chat woof.
Oh, I missed that one.
Not sure.
Are scanning.
Is that a way to call somebody a dog? I know that's very common.
Honestly, if there's anything you cannot say, Dota has very, very creative flamings. Obviously, hometown hero Quinn will be on tomorrow.
Oh yeah, he has the best.
And he, honestly, probably if you ever are looking for any sort of vocabulary, it's a good person to talk to. Walking Thesaurus, but doesn't necessarily give you the words you want.
Right, it's good
the
for
words
flaming.
you didn't know existed.
That's fair.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Bot tower, Paravision's for the taking here. And this is, oh, no one's going to go for the Mage Slayer into Radiance. A very, very good item against Templar Assassin, of course. Burn is nice, the miss.
Is this actually going to be a Tormentor? Because it might be a trade for the Roche as well.
Yeah, actually,
the Liquid
good timing.
in the pit.
Yeah, they'll just flat out trade this out.
Both teams reading each other. Of course, both have pretty good fights in the pit. As DM will get the shard. Wait, what? Did Slark already buy his or something? Yeah. Okay, so Death Shroud's already online. And yeah, they get a freebie onto the Sand King.
It's one of those things where technically, because they kill the Tormentor at 16, maybe Nineclass could have waited. And then if he doesn't get it, he reserves the gold and then buys it.
Yeah.
But this way, you want that Slark shard no matter what, so now you can just get it on another hero for free instead.
Uh-oh, no one.
He got the
gets
jump
Atos. Oh, they actually stun him off of a tree. Ducalis in the meantime, ready to go with the Ice Path, but this is just too much damage for no one to take. So greedy for that rune and punished.
Did he just shackle shot the Slark on the high ground to the Monkey King by chance? He was coming in for the Depth Shroud for the save, and he was stunned off to the right. What a sick angle.
Yeah, that would have been a good save. No
and it might have just worked. Like, you're going to see the replay here. So look, Nineclass is off on the right here. Is this just chance? Honestly, that just looks like chance. But maybe he had the foresight. He saw Nineclass coming that way, obviously.
Just bypass an entire forest of trees to lock onto a Slark. That is pretty damn good skill right there, as Bryle leading the way right now. Has the Aegis. This will give him a little bit of leeway in terms of these fights, and obviously one of the best Aegis carriers in the entire game.
One of the few heroes that even does something when it dies with Aegis if you have Edict running, right?
Yep, that's true.
So, can even do something a bit during your respawn.
Yeah, Mickey has the blink. Dragonlance will be going for the, it looks like MKB. Oh, is this a BKB coming on right now? Or is that a Deso?
It's a Deso.
Okay.
I'm a little bit worried for Mickey in this game. He has played Deathless so far, which is obviously quite impressive for this type of game, but if he doesn't get a BKB in the mid game, I think it just takes one minor misstep and he's just gone.
Yeah.
Like, the amount of overwhelming damage the Dire lineup has and the amount of control it has. If you at any point get caught by a Monkey King stun into Ice Path and Epicenter, or if, they can use all those 3 abilities in any order. And the TA kind of, you don't have to come as close as you used to like 5 years ago on TA because you have ridiculous attack range by now, but you still need to be somewhat in proximity of risk.
All right, Death Shroud for Nineclass, and he could just pounce away. Man, what an annoying-ass hero. He gets Power Shot, though.
Yeah.
And they do have Echo Stomp technically. He's going to sidestep, though.
He still has Death Shroud.
Boxy trying to chase with the win run. And into the nighttime he goes. Looks like Nineclass will survive.
So here's the problem with this Slark support is like, damn it if you do, damn it if you don't, right? If you don't run it down, you have no map control. But if you do, you can easily fail.
Yeah.
And you're just wasting so much time. It's kind of bringing me back to, if you remember Ad Finum's run at the, was it Boston Major, I think?
Yep.
Where maybe next time was playing Ricky and Bounty Hunter and just killing couriers and wards all game. And teams were trying to catch him, and they would kill him once or twice every game, but it took so long and they used so many resources, and his teammates were just free farming. And then they would just win mid-late game on fighting.
Now Boxy, he really wants this Slark kill. Bry's going to come from the other side as well. The Atos is there. And you see Diabolic Edict doing a lot along with the Pulse Nova. Cannot hide from that damage. They finally take out this annoying-ass Slark.
There's that
like
Leshrac pick. Countered that 4 position real hard in that fight.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing you brought up that is, I mean, maybe that's a bad thing that you're
maybe it's necessary, like
possibly.
It seems like something, I think that honestly played a pretty big part in Liquid's choice of this hero over anything else. Because keep in mind, we saw the stats. Leshrac has been picked one singular time this tournament and it lost. So it's by no means a meta hero. But of course, if you have a player who's a specialist and you identify that this aspect of the game is going to be a big problem, you want to try to solve that Slark however you can. And even if it's going to take you a mid lane pick, that justifies a first pick 4 position, right? Yeah. That's how much it's going to take.
Relatively big power spike for Paravision. Satanic finished his BKB about a minute and a half ago.
Yep.
And now an Aghanim Scepter for DM. So lots of damage.
Yeah.
And obviously they're going to want to fight here. No one, though, does have a lot of dead net worth on his hero at the moment. 3K in the bank. Looks like he's going for Radiance. We'll probably be taking that apart at some point, but that would be another enormous power spike not that far away for Paravision. His Boxy, he's going to get caught off guard and destroyed. No one will claim
illusion rune.
It happened.
That's rough. But in his defense, it was a smoked illusion rune, so he couldn't see it.
True.
No one didn't buy the Sacred Relic. Oh, he's going to buy it from his own siege. Okay, whatever. Minor mistake. He was next to the other one, but he's going to send it up.
Minor mistake.
Missing the final component for his Radiance. Interesting to see the net worth distribution. I feel like this happens quite a lot currently. Oh, hang on.
That is quite the ice path, but unfortunately, if you recall, as nobody else is around him, so he will drop.
I find that we've seen in a lot of games this tournament where the mids have the lowest net worth among the cores. Now, obviously, SaberLight has been having a rough one here, but you can see even Monkey King, no one was having a pretty good start, and he's still, now he's even with the Lesh, but they're still behind the Sand King, the PA, and the TA by a decent amount.
Well, the Radiance will help with that quite a bit.
It will. Needs to get there, though. Wisdom time. Okay, well, Boxy's on top of it. He's done his algebra. Paravision will go there when they feel like it. Maybe Satanic takes it and gets level 18. That would be a pretty strong spike together with his Sanjin Yasha.
Do you think Liquid got enough out of the age? Obviously, it's good to have it in terms of the trade with the Tormentor, but didn't really use it to full effect.
I don't think they could have got much more is the thing. I think it's very difficult for them to just show up at a tower and push against the lineup that they're facing. Slark, Monkey King, and Sand King are very annoying heroes to get flanked by.
Well, as Atos up. Yeah, he's going to get deleted.
That seems to be a constant. Mickey's happy to get some Desolator stacks.
Yep, true.
That's nice. And now he has, for the first time in the game, almost caught up to Satanic on the TA.
Yeah, he, like we said, going for the MKB, not that far away from it at the moment. Obviously going to be used in full effect versus the PA, but it'll also be pretty good against the Radiance while it is a Radiance. And Satanic, pretty much the cookie cutter build that we've been seeing the last couple months, with the S and Y being the third.
Yeah, against old Refraction, you would probably buy Manta this game. But yeah, that spell's been changed, so. New times call for new solutions.
Roar is very scary as well, so status is pretty damn good. As SaberLight's going to get off the Roar himself, and DM just dies 1v1. So that was a lot of damage.
Oh.
Now, you talked about SaberLight not getting up to the best of starts. Well, that is certainly a nice injection.
Yeah, he not only gets the kill, but he can afford his next hero relic now, with all those shards that don't work.
Yeah.
Nineclass?
Yeah, he's in a bit of trouble. Will be using the Death Shroud, and going to sidestep that power shot.
He has 3 saves. He has Yule's, Depth Shroud, and ult. And he had to use all of them. But again, Liquid are just wasting their time. The big beneficiary is Satanic, who has still, I feel like, not encountered an enemy hero for 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's been, he hasn't crit an enemy hero this game.
I wonder what his hero damage in total is like. It's probably laning stage and nothing else, right? He's 2-0-1. Those were the kills in lane, right?
Yeah, they were.
And then the one gank the one gank they tried on him top that failed.
Now here's the damage dealt. Lowest on his team. Make sure to report your carries that have the lowest damage in the game. Without context, of course.
Yeah, that's good.
Now we have a smoke from Paravision. Bryle no longer has the Aegis. DM ready to go. Gets off the Burrow Strike. Epicenter to follow. As Ducalis and no one show up as well. The stun locks the damage. Too much for Bryle to handle. That was a lot of spells, though, from Paravision.
It's a big kill. It's fine.
It is.
And this is something that is going to be a problem for Liquid pretty much for the entire game. They do not have any sort of save. The closest that they have is an ET Stomp, but it takes time and you need to, be very well positioned and the enemy team can counterplay it. The other one would be Gale Force, which I have to say I'm a little bit surprised to see Boxy not buying that or putting it in his quick buy, because you're playing against triple melee core and a Slark. It feels like Gale Force should, in theory, be really, really good this game.
Yeah. For sure.
Maybe it is his next item and he's just not bought it yet, but I think it would be a mistake not grabbing it.
Yeah. Sandstorm just in time. And now SaberLight. Well, he's going to use Ghost Scepter to stay alive a little bit longer, but it's not to be. Now he gets counter-tipped as Paravision sporting the 6K network lead at the moment.
And DM says, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, you can't fool me again.
Yeah, that's how the saying goes.
Yeah.
So next Roche, won't know about it for a little bit now, unless we look at the clock, I guess. No one's going to show himself, but he's been very, very careful. Has the shield rune, but it will be dissipating shortly. Looks like BKB is next on his list.
Insania looking for no one. He might find him. He found him.
The Astral Step, did he notice?
He definitely did.
Okay. Not going to go for it as Ducalis and Nineclass have now shown up. Pounce into Yules from a support Slark, mind you. Burrow Strike to follow inside the Sandstorm, but that's a big ET ult coming out. No one with the counter ult of his own as Mickey getting dropped by the PA. The Roar too late from SaberLight, and as Satanic can focus on the rest of the lineup here from Liquid. Second kill in this fight for him, and the chase is on. Another Burrow Strike from DM. Triple kill for Satanic. Is he done? Looks like they finally find the distance on the Liquid side to fully retreat. But just like that, it's a 9K lead for Paravision, full control of this game.
I think that was the perfect showcase of the TA conundrum in this game, right? If you get jumped at any point, your fight's over.
Yeah.
Like, you actually cannot be the target a single time. They tried to save him the best they could with a Force Staff and repositioning him, but he loses his refraction and he's just going to get eaten alive by Satanic. He knows exactly what his job is in that fight, pops everything, just tunnel visions Mickey until he's dead. And this is the price you pay when you feel like you have to buy MKB to even stand a chance at killing the PA. It's a good offensive item, but when you're on the receiving end, it's not going to work. And here's the big question. How are you going to be on offense when the enemy team has superior vision the entire game because of Slark?
Yeah.
They're just not managing to find the correct attack angles against this hero. And you can see now Nineclass, he's already being ambitious, queuing up his next big item. It's going to be the Scythe of Vice, so it will be the Yule's Hex build on this pesky little fish. Satanic buys his namesake.
Yes, indeed. Oh, the roar! Oh no! SaberLight uses his ult, instantly dispelled from Nineclass. He's going to use his Ghost Scepter, taking extra damage, but they're actually going to find the potential connection on the Satanic. But again, the save coming out from Slark. Burrow Strike to follow. Bryle is in no man's land. We'll pop the Bloodstone. And he'll sidestep a little bit as Nineclass taking a lot of damage. We'll get to the other side of the river. We'll sidestep another power shot. And just like that, nobody dies, Cinderin.
Plays his own voice line. Who wants a slap?
And now we can all breathe.
Oh. Everybody calm
All
down.
exhale. Get our CPAP machines hooked up. Make sure we get some good breathing going here.
Need a little bit of a rodent expert. We've got a mouse in the Paravision booth. Oh, they got rid of it already. That was quick.
They have some fearsome players. If they can scare a bear, I don't know if that content piece has gone out yet, but I think it has. They surely can scare a mouse. Yeah, definitely in the driver's seat is Paravision. So Liquid's side, like, if you were the captain of their team, other than just being the worst captain in esports, what would you tell them?
Thank you so much.
What would you tell them to get back in this game?
I'm not listening anymore.
All right, I take that back, Syndra.
What did you take back?
Everything.
Unpause.
Oh, we
it's
are
a bit of a stalemate for Roche.
Well,
Both
what
teams
does
know
Liquid
what's
have
up.
to do? I honestly think they have to buy time for Mickey's BKB. Because I think it's borderline. It's not impossible, but it's extremely difficult to get the right fighting conditions for him.
That was like a 4-man silence on that trap. Pretty disgusting. They're still smoked up, though. Ice Path is avoided. Boxy might be in some trouble here. He's going to get Boundless Strike. They'll use Wukong's command just for him, knowing if they just get one, Roche is probably theirs, although it might be a trade. That is a lot of damage from Mickey. Deletes DM. So 1 for 1, but not the way that Paravision wanted that to go.
Yeah, Nineclass didn't think there was going to be a counterplay, so he was not close enough for the depth route to save DM. That's a nice find for Mickey there. Pretty impressive to make that read on the situation that you can even attempt a counterplay. So, really well done. Still, as you said, good control here for Paravision. Sand King will respawn around the same time as Windranger, and they will try to maintain the overall Roche control. There's a minute and a half until he's going to go for a little walk. Not sure if they even... I think from Paravision's perspective, it's actually not that important that they get Roche. They just want Liquid to not. They just keep controlling the area. They don't have the best Roshing lineup. Obviously, PA can do it quite well. I think they would rather just play the map.
Yep.
Keep Liquid guessing.
Especially with the Roche being in the pit, Elder Titan got even better.
Yeah.
I mean, Astral Spirit is still one of the best spells to have in this 360-degree area.
Yeah, that's the other thing, is the risk-reward. Like, let's say you even can pull it off relatively easily. Is it worth it if that's the only avenue back in the game for Liquid? Is to find that type of opportunity.
It does feel like you need the pickoffs to achieve that pretty safely. No one.
Nice find.
Yeah, full smoke from Liquid. Turns
He
into a
dodges
tree,
it.
gets away just in time, and now the counter initiation onto SaberLight. Ghost Scepter will only save him for so far. Actually uses the Primal Roar, but will be chased down eventually. Can they get more is the question. Bryle now caught off next. Burrow Strike connects. He's dead. Double kill for Satanic. This PA is getting out of control. 7-0 at the moment for Satanic.
And this is good enough for Roche, but Paravision are trying to find a tertiary kill here. Obviously, one of the most mobile heroes in all of Dota, the Monkey King.
Yeah, Boundless Strike uses the shard to get up into melee range. Mickey is there to try to support his teammate. No one does go down to Mickey, but they get the kill they came for. DM with the epicenter now on top of Mickey. Has to sidestep it to the side of the trees. Get some vision. Collis, nice ice path, but no follow-up from Paravision. Did they bite up too much? The buyback, though, from Boxy. They want to turn this around.
Yeah, DM with the stun kill secure on Boxy might have been a mistake. Instead of stunning off Mickey there, could perhaps saved his ally, but wanted to make sure they got the kill they came for, and they did.
It cost them quite a bit, though.
He just dropped the gem. Was that a Radiant gem? Was that why he was so focused on killing Boxy? It might have been Liquid's gem that they stole there.
Okay.
I think so. So that would be a pretty big find if that was the case. 13k lead would indicate that that is indeed a stolen gem.
So Liquid have 3 Ghost Scepters, by the way.
Yep.
And guess who is buying a Nullifier? Satanic is about 300 away from finishing that.
He doesn't have it.
Yeah, very close.
Yep. Yeah.
And there's basically, at that point, there's basically no counter. I mean, you have, I guess there's no Yules on their side, but even the Hurricane Pike can be countered to some degree with that.
Yeah. The only really good counters right now that there are to Nullifier are BKB and Shadowblade, right? And
Lincoln's, I guess.
Yeah,
kind of.
But against PA, like she's gonna break it somehow, right?
Lincoln's feels like it's mostly a dead item.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to run. I think so far this tournament we've cast one game with 1 Lincoln's.
Yeah, I forget even who had it at this point. But either way, I mean, 3 Ghost Scepters, 2 Force Staffs, essentially. I mean, the Nullifier is going to have quite a big impact.
He's in the luxurious position that I think he's strong enough and far enough ahead of the TA that he can pick his target. The only thing that's truly dangerous for Satanic is the Roar. But if he can count on Nineclass, he's still going to get saved anyway.
Yeah.
So, very difficult here for Liquid. You have to try to find a smart angle. I guess the ideal kill, honestly, is the Slark. If you can kill him first and then the fight develops, you take the save out of the play. You perhaps get a little bit more options to play on angles because of the reduced vision, especially at nighttime. Nineclass, speaking of the devil, will walk into potential trouble.
Yeah, he's going to get gone on, but has the Dark Pact pounce. Might want to go back in as the Burrow Strike comes in for DM. Balance Strike does clip Bryle as no one pops the BKB and the Wukong's command, but nobody's inside of it.
Oh.
A little bit premature from no one, and the 3-shot deleted from the map. Boxy with the power shot, and now they're going to try to turn this around even more. But there's the buyback now for Nineclass. They have to be careful for Liquid. ETO hits one, SaberLight with the roar onto the Monkey King. Down goes no one, and DM has to pop the BKB in retreat. Nineclass does show up eventually. Burrow Strike onto 2 heroes. SaberLight is dead. Mickey very close to being so as well. Gets crit to the ground. Triple kill from Satanic. They find 4 kills in a blink of an eye. Paravision, it cost them 2 buybacks. That feels like a very powerful fight for them.
That's such a mixed bag. The way that started for Paravision was...
What is this all chat? What is it? Is he talking in the first person or is he talking about the item now? You know, so weird.
It's his eye, Satanic. Well, what a mixed bag. I think the way that started out was not, I mean, no one completely whiffed his ulti and just kind of forced that fight, and it didn't look good for Paravision, and then Liquid very understandably choose to chase that down. What a heads-up play call to go for the counterplay with the buybacks there, and that PA can just do all the necessary damage. So this first off, Nineclass kind of in the middle of nowhere first to begin this after the Wukong's command. They get a nice stomp into the splitter here onto the Jakiro, the roar on the correct target. This looks clean. It looks like the fight's just over. So Liquid want more. And then this turnaround play, beautiful 2-hero stun, and Satanic obviously.
You can't stop Satanic.
You can't beat Satanic. You just can't.
Triple kill. Didn't quite get the 4th himself, but damage was done. 13k lead now for Paravision. And of course, we saw on the screen, Roshan in for them as well. They have the Aegis, they have Roche's banner, and these are just going to get more powerful as we go on.
Satanic gets his level 25 off that.
Oh.
So -1 attack to trigger Kurkas, which is a very big DPS increase, and also it's such an insane talent for PA because not only just if you're stacking on stacking attacks on a target,
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
You're gonna crit more frequently, but it also makes your bursts freeze so much quicker in essence, so that when you're trying to assassinate a support, it's gonna take you that half a second or a second less.
Yeah.
And it just, those seconds start really mattering when BKBs drop lower. So a very strong talent indeed.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Are they ready to go high ground is the question. It's against a few very annoying heroes. And do they have the Gale Force yet? No. He just
doesn't want to buy it. I don't know. Am I missing something? Isn't that really good yet? I feel like it should be very good.
Oh, SaberLight gonna get some help. Doesn't need it actually. Just destroys Nineclass. A nice pick off for him.
He's dead forever. That was a buyback.
Yeah.
So 90 seconds, 5v4. Maybe now Liquid can go for a smoke and get some map control. Finally, with this dead Slark.
What is Gem doing there? Just randomly found in the camp.
Radiant
Okay.
are scanning.
There was actually a double impact kill onto the Slark. He was 200 gold away from Hex.
Ah.
So they delay that as well. Liquid obviously doesn't know that for a fact.
Do call it. Can
Nice
they
force.
find him?
He's actually going to survive if he TPs here. They might just stand. All right, they didn't want to chase. So, respecting the counterplay of Paravision despite it being 5v4.
I'm surprised that they still want to fight here despite not having their Slark, but they are definitely grouping up.
I guess PA is worth 2.5 heroes, so you are outnumbering Liquid with your Aegis and
Probably
28,000 net worth carry.
She is quite strong.
Yeah, almost has Abyssal.
And Abyssal, I assume, will replace the Treads?
Treads first and then replace
Battle
Battle
Fury?
Fury later. Yeah, probably.
SaberLight, oh, he jumps in, wanted to find a connection. Satanic goes in by himself, gets roared. Do they have the damage to get through him? One time they do. Has the second life, as we've talked about, in the BKB being put back into his inventory. He's going to get silenced. He's already at half HP. He's going to get deleted. No PA for this fight. Has the buyback, so it's going to cost them SaberLight at the very least, but that's already 2 dead for Paravision as DM taken out by Midgame. No one, all alone inside his Wukong's command. No armor's going to save you from this damage from Midgame as Liquid take a huge fight to get them back into this game.
He should have never said you can't beat Satanic. If there's one thing Liquid will power up from, it's people thinking they can't beat you.
Does no one learn? Not no one the player, but just in general.
Have you not studied Liquid history?
Chance come out.
I mean, honestly, that's kind of a crazy situation, right? He has the BKB in the backpack, and he's going to lose his Aegis and swap it in, but obviously it has the 6-second activation time, and the 3-second respawn is not enough. They chain the silences and the stuns beautifully, and he gets absolutely nothing off on either life. Yeah. That's the face of an excited
That is the face of a psychopath, if I'm not mistaken. Mickey, he's going to get Yules. Next to the tier 3 tower, he's going to go real deep for the 9-class kill. Won't find it, though. Now the focus fire from Boxy. They will get this tier 3. The only buyback right now is for Satanic, and I think they just have to give this up. So despite having such a massive lead, this has basically been equalized, if not just going in Liquid's favor now with the full lane of racks.
They just flat out seize a massive moment of opportunity, right? Slark's dead for 90 seconds. Liquid realize, all right, we're outnumbering. We can go for something. And they find literally the perfect play on the map as Satanic alone gets killed once and can't get the BKB off on the second life. The hero that would usually protect you from that is the exact hero that was dead. So that's why this play is possible, and Liquid with a really clutch play call recognizing that those conditions are met. And they pull off more or less the perfect play to get themselves into, I want to say, an even position now in this game, which I feel like I have not seen them even close by for the last 20 minutes.
Yep. One fight changes everything, no doubt about that.
Dota. Big pressure, big mistakes, and big plays.
That's the base right there. Oh man, let's go back to Beastmaster real quick. I like the base. There we go. Man, I can just feel that in my bones. Feel the arthritis building up. Man, getting old's great. SaberLight doesn't have to worry about that, though. He is a Chad indeed. Oh my God, all right, well. The congregations of the deep, a little bit stronger than SaberLight. Something to look forward to in life. So Satanic, I mean,
no idea what that means.
Literally nothing matters what I say. Just remember that.
Okay.
So he needs to hold on to buyback for Satanic, especially after a fight like that. You lose your buildings real fast.
They need to, I think Paravision now that they've been punished for it once, they need to make sure that Nineclass and Satanic are within reach of each other, and that Nineclass does not get jumped first. If you're going to avoid that, I still think the game position for Paravision is quite good, but Liquid obviously are going to feel quite motivated after the way that last fight went out. Like, if you can set up any sort of team fight in a similar fashion, it doesn't even need to be as clutch anymore because there's no Aegis this time. You could set up a trap perhaps with the TA getting vision in the right spots, maybe a little bit of a smoke. Got the ET scouting. And of course, we will see the debut of Gale Force. This could play a pretty big role when BKBs expire.
Yeah, we've been hyping this up, and we'll see if it's good. Yep. It does sound very good this game against Depth Shroud and whatnot.
Yeah.
And Mickey, basically the same net worth at this point of Satanic. And Lincoln's is next on the menu for him.
Smoke spot for both teams, expecting a potential game-deciding fight within the next few minutes. They're both preparing for it. Roshan's early respawn is in a minute. Don't remember when the Tormentor was killed, no way to know.
Yep, one day we'll get that into the game.
We'll have it eventually, I'm sure. Not that Tormentor is particularly important anymore now. Like when you get this late into the game, the Tormentor a lot of the time is honestly just a bait.
Yep. Oh, that's a pretty big power spike for Paravision. Both Shivas and Manta now online. Satanic is going to show himself up front. Well, Shackle shot into the roar, but the Death Shroud is there. The ET ult's going to miss because of the Gale Force, actually. Satanic pops to BKB and turns this around onto Mickey and company. Gets forced out for the high ground, though, as SaberLight's trying to tank it for his team. Lots of damage from Mickey on the high ground as SaberLight trying to fight this out. He's going to be first to death, but it's going to cost 2 Paravision lives. Shackle shot is there, but Brian getting really low, healing up thanks to the blow. So that's 4 dead for Paravision already. It's just the PA, 1 versus 4. Satanic is dead.
Oh my God.
Triple kill for Mickey. They only lose 1 somehow, and I think they can actually finish this. There's only 1 buyback on the side of Paravision, and now the tips come out. They're running out of them at this point. Last fortification likely for the game in this best of 3. Need a little bit of creep wave.
Insane setup. Paravision baited that perfectly the way they wanted.
Yeah.
They immediately get Depth Shroud onto the ward PA, but Mickey was able to be kited out by I think 2 different Force Staffs on 5% health.
Oh, they're going to try to go on top. Buyback coming out from SaberLight, but PA's already used her. He's already dead. It was a 1v4 essentially, and that's GG. Liquid take game number 1. Wallace will be playing the Ringmaster. Unfortunately for us, we will not be seeing a unicycle, as he did take the boring whoopee cushion. The fact that I'm saying that at a LAN in general is questionable at best, Cinderin, that this is in the game. The lore has never been broken as hard with a whoopee cushion in Dota. Either way, though, Paravision looking to come back here because this is, in fact, an elimination game. Elimination series for both. It's Boxy. Oh, he's going to get knifed from the southern side. He's taking a ton of damage. This might be first blood. Blood grenade is there. He's going to use the Fairy Fire as well, but first blood to no one who will be playing the Beastmaster mid. Can't ask for a better start for him.
Aside from that, the bounty runes went evenly, so just a flat-out overall win for the side of Paravision. I'm curious to see this mid lane matchup. I don't know if you've seen this before. Storm against Beast. Not exactly a common hero-to-hero matchup in the mid lane. And then this top lane, the Caudal Bristle, a true classic. Takes me back to Loda and Ake days. Back in Alliance.
Yeah, that was not
the crap out of this.
It was not balanced back then.
The game was very different back then. But the one thing that remains a constant in all of Dota 2's competitive history is that people are going to exploit the crap out of stuff that's overpowered. So let's see if that will be the case here. Nineclass will get the courier kill. He's taking a beating for it, though.
Yeah, will it cost him his life?
Just die.
He is just dead. Doesn't try to deny to the neutrals, so the creeps will go back to where they came from.
A rather uncharacteristic way to die is getting chased down by Tinker in lane.
Yeah, that's a more
without
pathetic
laser. He didn't even have a spell. It was just a blood grenade.
Very
now
true.
Laser unlocked from the kill, of course. And this is a very healthy start to the top lane for Liquid. I will say this Tinker Gyro is a very strong lane. So I'm curious to see if Caudal Bristle can really deal with the amount of pressure that Tinker and Gyro can output together. Just full-on zone control. They can always push the wave. You can just put Marsh and Flat Cannon and then pull camps and try to win on economy. Yeah, you just don't need to fight the enemy heroes.
And you mentioned the mid lane, unorthodox to say the least. If you had to guess, who should have the advantage here?
My gut says it's a draw, but because realistically speaking, it's not very easy for Storm to kill the boars even with static slide. But at the same time, Beastmaster can't truly pressure the Storm that hard, I would think, unless Brawl makes a misstep here. I think they're both just going to be farming for the most part. Then the question is what happens when the laning stage breaks down. Both heroes can gank at level 6, but also the ability for the heroes to take stacks.
Well, speaking of stacks, that is 6 goose stacks on Insania. You will live through the day. Very annoying heroes in general in this lane, actually. Another Illuminate coming out from Nineclass. Mickey will tank it easily. Yeah, this lane is going to be a lot of action, for sure.
Radiant's courier has been killed.
In bottom lane, haven't really talked about this one too much. I mean, let's talk about the Hoodwink a bit. The panel talking about how it's a worse win run. Would you agree with that?
I think that's an interesting angle. I feel like those two heroes are actually fundamentally very different.
Yeah, here we go. Start your monologue.
Okay, they're the same.
All right,
SaberLight?
On to SaberLight. We'll get to the northern side of the pool, and Satanic Company will gain the Lotus as a result. And this Ringmaster here with the knives, one of the most potent against these high HP heroes, such as the Sand King.
Yep.
Seen it time and time again.
Mid lane, I mean, it's worth keeping in mind no one got the first blood, right? So I think that's definitely going to have an influence on how mid goes, but
yeah,
a lot of denies. That Rocket will not make it in time. 24-7. Brawl is getting his CS, but it's a lot harder for him to deny than it is for the Beast, of course, with the triple unit. Storm has to do it on zone. But overall, both teams doing quite well for themselves. The main hero struggling are the offlaners.
Yeah,
particularly
DM,
the guy on screens right now.
Yeah, he's going to take a full rocket barrage to the face, and this will lead to his eventual demise. Only 9 CS right now for DM. Definitely a very rough start. Of course, this is a hero that can get back into the farm department with some stacks.
Yeah, there are a lot of heroes, or a lot of creeps rather, pushing into them top as well. So in theory, Paravision should be able to get a decent amount of CS on DM here, but they get the side pull off. This is what I talked about with Gyro and Tinker. You just push out the wave and you pull hard cam. And if Paravision try and come and contest these creeps, I think they don't stand a chance. Like, they're just going to have to run through March and Flak. You can't do it. So every time Liquid pulls this hard camp, it's just dead creeps for Paravision. I think Insania should just pull it again here. He's actually going to... looking to stack, perhaps, on the top side? Or is he going for a gate play? Either way, I mean, he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah,
I really like this move as well. I think...
Through the gate?
Yeah, if you consider the resources that Paravision have right now, the bottom side, even a Tinker can pull this off.
And it is nighttime. Use that extra cover to perhaps make an avenue for themselves here. Coming in from the south, the Burrow Strike's going to set things up. Laser to follow on Ducalis. He is mega dead. Question is, can they get Satanic? Inside this March of the Machines, under the cover of the Tier 1, he will barely survive.
He's out of juice, though. He's got a Fairy Fire only. They're going to have to send some Tangos down. There's a healing salve actually on the way on the courier for, but that's Ringmaster, so yeah, what's Satanic going to do here? Guess both Tangos and salve will get him up to speed.
And Nineclass taking heavy harassment in this lane. Might be going through the gate himself at DM. He is left alone for the time being. Only level 4 right now. And in terms of his farm, still a ways away from Vanguard. And we saw SaberLight already have that, I want to say about a minute ago. That's essentially the discrepancy between the offlaners.
Yeah, he is dirt poor on Bristle. I don't know, I think this hero, when you're this far behind, it has a very large tendency to become a liability. So you got to be very careful now in Paravision that you don't just lose DM from the game entirely. Stacks, as you mentioned, is a good way to recover. Caudal will be focusing on that, but we've already established Liquid have really good ways of clearing neutral creeps, so...
Oh boy, homing missile into a big ol' zip from Bryle. Down goes Nineclass.
Under attack.
So far, Liquid pretty happy in this top lane at the very least.
Could they stick and take the Wisdom here?
It is 20 seconds away.
Their Gyro Storm are very strong for this kind of fight. What's Paravision going to do? They're trying for the switcheroo. No one with a haste rune. Showing himself, he just axes SaberLight under the tower, so he's not keeping it a secret what he wants to do.
Yeah, they're going to try to go for the trade, but Midgame makes his way to the other side. SaberLight gets off the Burrow Strike into a bushwhack. This is going to turn into a big old juicy fight. Ducalis looks to be mega dead, but the Roar going to keep no one alive a little bit longer. Gets one more axes, but you can see Bryle TPing his way here. They're going to get the cleanup crew overall. And in terms of the Wisdom runes, both going the way of Liquid.
Okay, so I'm not sure if Beastmaster knew that he was already spotted when he went for those axes when running between the towers, but if he was not already a confirmed move there, I think that would have been a pretty big mistake from no one. It was very clear for Liquid what they needed to do. Okay, if Beastmaster is bottom going for that play, he's definitely not going to do it alone. So we'll bring the numbers, and then we'll keep one or two of our strong heroes top to take the other Shrine of Wisdom. They just get away with everything, and now the supports on the Radiant will be starved for a while. Both level 4.
They need this kill. They have no damage, though. Homing Missile will find its mark, but don't really have to do too much from the Liquid side to dissuade Paravision from going any further. Level advantage for the supports is getting to disaster territory. Level 4 for both Nineclass and Ducalis. And for the side of Liquid, level 5 on both.
And Insania is almost 6 here. He's farming up. One of the big changes in recent Dota for Tinker, the way the layout of the jungle makes it so much stronger, which is a big part of the reason why Tinker has become a first pick as well. And has made a resurgence is there's just so many layouts where you can march 2 camps simultaneously, and it doesn't matter whether you're playing support or core, just level 3 or level 4 March of the Machines can take out 2 camps at once. And the added benefit of it is that a lot of the time the farm you're taking is farm that your teammates don't want.
Yeah.
So you're flat out just conjuring gold out of thin air that the other team doesn't get in the same fashion. And you can defend towers. So you're seeing what Insania is doing right now. He's just TPing in mid and marching it out to push. And now he can choose whatever he wants. Does he want to go to do 2 camps on the side, or does he want to stay here and defend? And of course he can just TP and be a part of a smoke as well if he wants. Gonna help his teammates out here with farming some fat stacks in the triangle.
Yeah, so both sides taking out stacks. This one definitely larger on the Liquid side, but being shared between essentially 3 heroes for the most part.
Yeah.
But the stacks for DM desperately needed just to get to level 6 here, the 9.5-minute mark. Has Vanguard, so Halberd will be first on the table.
Dire's middle tower is under
Yeah, pretty good item against Gyro, of course.
Burrow strike into the Sandstorm. We're going to see the Bush, or the Sharpshooter rather, connect on its target. Whip, not really going to be used to full effect, as Satanic already at half HP under his tier 1. Don't know if Liquid can continue, but they get the Bushwhack onto 2 to follow, and Mickey's actually making his way over as well. The homing missile will be applied to Satanic. They get Ducalis on the run. And we'll see if this homing missile will set things up. Refraction is there.
Call down.
Call down to follow, though. TP support is coming. Do they have a vision for the meld? They do. Satanic actually turns it around at a Boxy instead, and Mickey, completely out of mana, has to retreat.
That's a sexy double meld play. Caudle TP's in with the Chakra Magic ready. They communicate that on the spot. Double meld, kill the Hoodwink, and get out. But it's still a very nice move for Liquid to force that rotation and also take the tower here. Still, as it stands, somehow no one is staying ahead of the curve on net worth, and this will be an early Aghanim, and they're trying for the tower trade. Don't think Liquid are too interested in trying to defend here. Actually, Tinker completed the TP.
Roared up. There's another TP coming from SaberLight, as Insania looks like he's going to eventually go down, but the burst strike is SaberLight making his way over finally. Sharpshooter deletes no one. It's a 1-for-1 to start, but DM, he is surrounded. Do they have a stun here to cancel his TP? No, not in time.
Yeah,
It ends up being a 1-for-1 overall.
I was like, Insania completing that TP is kind of crazy. If you're going to do that, you better bring the numbers. And, well, they brought the whole team. So they definitely wanted to hold on to their tower, and it was mission successful. The trade even quite good, you know, Tinker for Beast. But, of course, it was a 5-hero rotation. There will be a little bit of farm efficiency lost that Paravision will pick up by playing multiple lanes simultaneously. Still, holding onto your tower, definitely well worth it. Now Insania back to like nothing happened. Just farm both camps on the right-hand side of the map.
Now, Ducalis just about to hit level 6, so everybody has the ult at their disposal. We'll see if they want to try to make something work. Wheel of Wonder, obviously one of those spells that can be pretty annoying for a Sand King inside of the Sandstorm. If you can catch a Storm Spirit somehow, you have a lot of stun lock potential for this mobile hero.
I got some nice, you know, the setup with the Roar is one of the most obvious ways of chaining a Wheel of Wonder. Hard single target lockdown that you can follow through on. SaberLight missing the stun. He's kind of deep now too.
Yep, he's going to take a knife for his efforts, but the rest of Liquid are essentially behind him.
Yeah.
They want to try to pressure this tier 1 potentially, or just the triangle in general. That looks to be the case. This is the double stack here of the hard camp.
bit more efficiency going their way. Now the 2K lead down to about 1.8 is largely Tinker. This is standard. Tinker will outfarm every support every game at this level. There's just nobody that can match it for the reasons we've already established. So Insania will be progressing quite well. Closing in on a Pavis. And the Solar Crest. So not going for the Greaves first. I'm curious if he's even going to buy them. I think sometimes players might overrate this item a little bit on Tinker. It feels really good, but obviously this hero has the potential. We've seen games from a player such as Whitemon where it just takes over even as a 5, going Aetherlens Ags. Not the worst game for it either, right? You're playing against Bristle, Beastmaster, and TA. These heroes are oftentimes going to be up in your face and kind of stacked, so you can get that bouncing laser for a massive damage reduction and burst at the same time. We'll see what his plans are.
Well, Bushwhack does not connect, and the box is in time to avoid any shenanigans from Bryle.
Mid tower for PARIVISION is quite healthy. And they're just biding their time. PARIVISION is waiting for a really strong mid-game timing for their lineup. Coddle Ags plus Beastmaster Ags. And hopefully for them as well, TA getting Deso plus Blink. Maybe these things can somewhat overlap, at least 2 of the 3. They would be a lot stronger.
Yeah, Nolan's just 300 away from that. As Bryle actually going to take the Watcher. He is not scared of DM, who's been feeding up to this point. They have the break, of course. As the Wheel of Wonder finally comes out, it's going to be onto the Hoodwink. Down goes Boxy. As Paravision, we're ready for this. Insania does get out.
Not too bad.
They finally get their first wisdom of the game.
Yeah, they do defend it and they do get it, but they forced 5 hero rotation and the only kill they got was the Hoodwink. So not the end of the world by any means for Liquid, but once again, I guess my big question for this game is who's really benefiting from it just being this chill? Because a lot of the time Coddle lineups do very well in this phase because they can just out-efficiency the opponent around the map. You're just pulling heroes around with recall, you're gaining a ton of extra farm that was unavailable, but specifically against Tinker, I can't really say in good faith that PARIVISION are necessarily happy to just trade farm forever. Also, the overall scalability, the Dire lineup becomes extremely potent late game.
Invis rune for Bryle, going to be setting up on Ducalis. Actually gets the box off in time. And DM pretty damn low on mana. Not sure if he wants to fight here. We'll back away for the time being. 2K lead for Liquid, still feels kind of static at the moment.
Yeah.
But still, top farmer in the game is Satanic with the Deso, Dragonlance. As Roche makes his way over to his eventual death trap. And there is the Solar Crest that you talked about on Insania. So some nice item timings here.
Very curious about his next quick buy.
Oh, SaberLight trying to go high ground, but he's going to get greeted by a Primal Roar, and he is dead.
Oh, Insania lasered Beast instead of TA.
Insania wants to fight, apparently. He's going to get deleted, but the rest of Liquid have come. Call down is there on top of the TA. Satanic is dead. That's a big kill for Liquid. It cost them 2, though. And no one to call us, along with Nineclass, primed and ready to fight still, despite not having the Primal Roar at their disposal. It looks like the fight will break up from here.
Yeah,
so Tormentor.
If they get this out of it, it's a big win for them. And I don't think Liquid have what it takes to come and contest this. So, yeah, one of those situations where, you know, a bit of a misclick, I'm assuming, from Insania. He lasered the Beastmaster instead of the TA. That cost him his life. And yeah, they get the trade on the TA, but they need to bring a lot of heroes and use a lot of resources, and ultimately they give up this region. So now this is going to be Spotlight available.
Oh, yeah.
So interesting against tanking. Obviously able to find him in the Sandstorm. It gives true sight. No illusions to kill them.
No.
At the very least. That seems... We've seen that in a couple of games where Ringmaster has been played against Terrorblade, and you and I have both been kind of blown away by how fast it can kill all the conjured images, but in this case, there's probably not even going to be a Manta this entire game. Like, nobody wants to buy any sort of illusions on the Dire team.
If it was old school Dota, Tinker would get a Manta, Cinderin.
Oh yeah, the Viront 2 build.
I didn't know if there was a name for it. As the zip comes in, Bryle not able to make the connection, but the tier 1 tower looks to be conceded here for Paravision. There's a Saint Kaya now online.
That took me a trip down memory lane.
Yeah.
The Virot, I think Virot is actually the guy
who
invented travels on Tinker. That was not the default build.
Interesting.
People didn't, I think what people used to do back then was they bought Arcane Ring. That was an item you bought at the time. Now it doesn't exist for the time being, but Yeah, he popularized Manta, because you could just travel around and drop Mantas everywhere.
Well, this is a backstab potential here from Liquid. DM farming camps at the moment. Nineclass to the side. Burrow Strike not going to hit anything. Sandstorm onto 3. Here's a big bushwhack onto 2. Illuminate's going to get some nice heals. DM focusing on Insane. He is so tanky though. The sharpshooter onto SaberLight though, with the right clicks of no one, is enough to punish this move from Liquid.
He was very, very close to getting off Epicenter, but they do get the roar just in time, and that's a death sentence on the spot. But great bushwhack from Boxy. Could have made that a great fight for Liquid, but PARIVISION were ready. And the power of recall being displayed there from Nineclass. Pulling the Beastmaster down to that fight. Speaking of, no one is only 1,000 now away from BKB. The item in this game for sure, you look at the Dire lineup, it's almost purely magic damage with the exception of Flak Cannon. But Flak Cannon, he has the side gunner too. Flak Cannon largely is spread damage. You don't necessarily do the most single target damage compared to a hero like PA we saw in the last game. So when you're in BKB, you should feel very confident, especially with Drums of Slom, that you can just stick around and have essentially free movement the entire fight until it expires. And we're seeing Insania answering my question about which way he's going to go about it. He will go mech, but doesn't look like the full Greaves. It's mech into Blink, and I assume then we're looking at the Ags for him. This has the potential to be a very long game.
Oh, don't spoil it, Cinderin.
Roar?
Roar is going to connect here outside of the Sandstorm, and, well, the Wheel of Wonder actually going to be avoided from SaberLight, but he is slow to a crawl and will die. Spotlight was placed, as Insania and company will be able to get out, so it's just a 1 kill, but still, this is yet another death for SaberLight. It's the 3rd of the game so far.
No one's actually a beast in this game.
Well, literally.
He's got, oh, yeah, true. Yeah, that's it. He's playing Beast now. He's got Drums of Slom for the heal. He's got Essence Ring for a heal. And he's got Illuminate for a heal. He's very, very tanky. And again, once the BKB is running effectively invincible, so Liquid have to, I think, if they're approaching these mid-game fights, be selective about their targeting. I think you ideally jump the supports and build the fight around kiting. And you can see this is a very quick BKB, and that is a relevant stat. This is in 99 matches, and he's beating it by several minutes. So obviously sometimes you see a different build order that will affect it. Make no mistake. And of course, mostly it is played to the off lane. But it goes to show that the timings that you're used to seeing from Beastmaster, obviously this time that he's mid and doing this well, some of the itemization and some of the timings might be accelerated more than you're used to. Let's see if Liquid are up to the challenge.
Okay, Hairball will be there to start things out with the call down, and now the Roar as well, but the rest of Liquid are on the way. Get a little bit of shield action, but Midgame does die. And Insania gonna go on top of no one, but that's a BKB TP. Oh, it actually gets canceled by himself, it looks like. They do find Ducalis to start this out, but no one in the midst of all of this damage inside of the Sandstorm. Gets off the axes again, they're starting to stack up. Boxy and SaberLight onto the low ground. There's a TP now from Insania. A very long fight, only a couple of heroes died here.
I'm really surprised no one started TPing out. It's like, you're stronger than the entire enemy team, what are you scared about? And then he was like, oh yeah, I'm actually pretty strong, and started fighting, but those couple of seconds that he spent TPing until his eventual cancel, that little bit of extra damage might have been a Tinker kill, and who knows? Perhaps this could have snowballed further, so a little bit of indecision or uncertainty on PARIVISION's side. And perhaps the other allied heroes were also a little bit too far away. Still, they got the big kill and they got out, so cannot be unhappy with that result if you're PARIVISION. Killing Gyro's enormous. And he's still about 1,500 away from BKB, so perhaps there's one more moment of opportunity to kill Mickey once more with the next roar.
Nineclass getting an enormous power spike of his own with the Aghanim Scepter, so
yeah,
recall is going to be a very important part to this game. It's a great way to try to counter a hero like Tinker, who's all over the map.
There's
See if Paravision can put things together here.
Will-O-Wisp. They don't have the easiest ways of breaking it either. It's kind of only Gyro with Flak Cannon that wants to attack this in the middle of a fight. And either way, if you are going to break it, even with Gyro, you know, there's probably some efficiency and some damage being lost in the fight, unless it's literally all Flak.
They don't have great attack speed overall, do they?
No.
Well, 4K lead for Paravision, but we've seen this before. It was double this last game. And Liquid able to come back. I mean, we haven't really seen a Roche attempt as of yet. But there's the blink from no one. He's been getting some pretty damn good roars so far this game, and this will give him even better access to set spell. We'll be going for the Shivas next.
Stupendous.
And for Satanic, who still top of the net worth overall. BKB is about 600 away.
Radiant are scanning.
And that is definitely what they're waiting for before they push the pedal to the metal. But Instania will have his blink soon too.
Yeah.
Gets silenced, so that is the shard from Satanic being put to good use.
That's pretty annoying for Tinker against the Keen Conveyance. Gotta have a TP scroll handy.
How important would you say is Nullifier against Tinker in general? And who would buy it?
I would say it's very important in general just because the meta right now also very much favors Ghost Scepters anyway. So you're kind of just double dipping by also removing Defense Matrix. I think in this case, it's kind of a position of luxury for Paravision because I think any of their 3 cores can actually buy it. You could buy it on Beastmaster off of Shiva if you need it. You could buy it on the TA if you want. Even Bristle. When you're going this kind of a utility route on DM, at this point he should buy whatever makes Beastmaster and TA win the game, right? So if that's more frontline tankiness, he can do that, but you can also get the Nulli for them. Smoke on smoke.
Smokes will converge onto the high ground. No one goes. Has to pop his BKB. Gets off the roar, but that's on a very bad target in the Tinker. The Will-O-Wisp onto several heroes, though. Wheel of Wonder to follow. Nobody wants to look at it. It is disgusting to foresee. And looks like the Tinker's gonna be the first to fall. Make it finally pop to BKB, trying to apply all the pressure to DM. But first, Satanic jumps and he's doing tons of damage to Midgame, who already dies. Brile and company now have to exit. And it looks like most of them will get out. It felt like Paravision took no damage there. And now into the Roche pit they go.
Yeah, Liquid can't do a deal with this Beastmaster just jumping in with BKB. He's just running at them, casting his stuff. They actually kind of kited it quite well. The roar went onto
Oh, SaberLight, he wants to go in. He gets off the epicenter, into the pit he goes, but they kind of see this coming. Now he's going to get stunned. They do take out the Caudal though, so Nineclass dead during this engagement. It's a Roshan about to get really low. SaberLight's dead. Who picks up the agent? It is DM, and Brile will follow suit to the grave. Boxy from afar. Looks like he will find the distance, but Paravision winning that fight handily.
Yeah, it's a valiant attempt from Liquid to try to steal that, but I think honestly, you just send one hero and YOLO it instead of making this breakout into a fight. You're at a massive numbers disadvantage. Paravision are still strong in that area, and you end up paying extra. Could have lost the Roche, now you also lost a couple kills, and probably the bot tower to boot. If you hadn't taken the fight, maybe you could have defended your tower. But yeah, there's just nothing left. So a big lead once more for Paravision. Just like in game number 1, as you said, Liquid were able to turn it around in that one. Can't help but feel it might be more difficult in this one, though, by nature.
Yeah, doing it 2 times in a row is pretty hard, I'd say.
Yeah, it's also like, let's say the lead is the same, that it's not equally obvious. I think last game Liquid had a very clear, isolate and kill this hero and snowball the fight off of that. I don't necessarily think their lineup is capable of doing that in this game in the same fashion. So this time around, the challenge should be even harder. You'd be quite creative about the way you set fights up. And I think the man on your screen right now, Instania, he's got a very key role to play here. I'm still curious to see his next path. Now that he delayed his dagger in favor of Ghost Scepter, and now he's going to die again, probably.
Probably is an understatement. Inside the Will-O-Wisp, he is alone. It's off the Ghost Scepter, but it is not to be.
Oh, SaberLight, that was really, really close. The whip landed. I want to say that was a fraction of a second after he TP'd out. That would have been a bonus kill for Paravision. They're not going to stick around and take the... Are they taking the... Oh, they're taking the Tormentor, just the 2 of them, I suppose. Or, well, not for now. Did they notice it's up? I think this is just a total freebie.
They'll get to it at some point. Got to kill the creeps, though. Maximum efficiency. Base of the drums. No one. Okay, maybe they did forget about it. Okay, here we go.
There we go. Okay.
DM onto the high ground.
You want a DM there for it.
Need to share the damage.
Share the load.
As no one actually gets the shard. Okay, so gets the increased Hawk duration, and of course, getting another one. One of the more annoying spells to have to deal with. Just like, it feels like it's, it gets lost in the shuffle in a lot of these fights, just getting rooted randomly.
It's also against Gyro, so.
Yeah. Yeah, in the lore, Gyro is really scared of Hawks.
No, he just kills them.
Ducalis will be pausing. Okay. This actually gives us a good time to have a little survey action. Raleigh, how you doing tonight? All right. I got 2 questions. Who likes Cinderin? Okay.
Yes!
Now,
I knew it!
Who likes hot dogs? What? Okay, I was not expecting that. My goodness. They like you more than food, Cinderin. Congratulations.
Who thinks Sunsfan is funny?
Yeah!
All right, there we go. All right, not bad, not bad. Good.
Had to fill
Another a successful survey, and as we know, with an audience this big, it's definitely statistically significant.
Yeah,
so
that does not bode well for me.
ooh, somebody loves statistical
gonna...
significance out in the crowd. I appreciate you. The chi-squared score of this survey was excellent.
Boxy deleted during that time that Cinderin was having a monologue, and Stania attempting to TP out. He's fine. Has the Ghost Scepter. As DM will put some pressure on this tier 2 tower. And the Aegis upon him. So not a target you really want to focus on. Oh, SaberLight though.
Oh,
Will-O-Wisp
movement.
just barely misses, but they see him. The Dart connects, attempting to TP for him, for the Atos to cancel, and a nice kill coming out for Satanic and company.
It's so awkward. That was kind of a pitiful escape, but where else was he supposed to go with that burrow strike? Oh, this would be a much bigger
big
kill.
roar, no one, and a 1 versus 1 comes out on top over the enemy carry. Mickey punished.
My lord, he is strong on Beastmaster right now. Got the right facet for the game.
Oh yeah.
Definitely going beast mode here. No one.
16K lead for Paravision. What can Liquid do about this? They're going to actually go in despite not having 2 of their members. Nice box from Ducalis, saving his ally, and no one's just going to continue on to Boxy. Brile will have to zip away in shame. TP for Insania. The whip cancels it. So 2 more die for Liquid. Only Brile gets away.
Mission failed? That wasn't even remotely close. I think that they were just hoping that Beastmaster had no backup there, because it's going to take them a little while to kill him, but Paravision were in position, and that was indeed not a bluff that time around from no one's Beastmaster. And that's going to cost them 3 dead for 20 seconds. This Radiant lineup, makes no mistake, it pushes really freaking fast. This tower.
Yep,
I think it's a lane of barracks within these 15 seconds.
Oh yeah, they might try to go for another kill as well as no one. It's off the axes. Aegis is consumed now though.
The tower.
Not the extra life to work with. They get the tower and now the focus onto the melee barracks. Liquid's gonna have every member up in 5 seconds, but yeah, they lose the melee and Paravision exiting immediately.
Clean disengage.
And the lead is growing and growing here. Yeah, not too bad. Gaining 13K while having the Aegis.
Yeah, that's good.
Insania will now start working on Agnum Scepter, but if it continues in this favor, not sure if he'll have the time.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is he actually gonna get? I mean, the way these last 10 minutes have been going, there's very little to write home about for Liquid. And I think
Brile. Trying to TP, but gets roared and melt striked. Goodbye. So it wasn't a team wipe before because Brile survived. Well, now you can basically call it that.
But I feel like that's been the biggest issue in this game. I think the Storm has been a very underwhelming pick, and I can't say that it's been because Brile has played it poorly. I just think it's been very difficult for him to access anything. So the value of this mid pick has been very, very low, and we've talked a lot about, well, if Tinker gets there, etc. Storm is meant to bridge the gap during this phase of the game by finding pickoffs. He's been in 5 kills and 31 minutes on Storm. Just very little working out for the side of Liquid. And now they're going to be constrained on probably what should be less than 25% of the map until Storm respawns. Just a full-on grip here on all 3 lanes from Paravision. And And it's a bad sign when Nineclass starts dropping the voice lines. He's been quiet for a chunk of this game and the end of the previous one.
They were put in their place last game.
Yeah,
So.
he needed to warm up. I don't think there was a voice line in this one for the first 20 minutes, but his VPM, as we like to call it, the voice lines per minute, Jenkins has been very adamant that we should introduce more acronyms.
Yeah, of course. Makes sense. Who has time to speak eloquently?
Yeah.
Let's get the abbreviations out there.
I think Jenkins needs as many acronyms as possible because he can't speak eloquently to begin with.
This is true.
Helps him a lot.
No one has refresher.
Yeah,
This is going to be a tough task for Liquid.
Very big. I don't know if this has to be one of the highest net worth Beastmasters I've ever seen at 32 minutes.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's unreal how farmed he is in this.
And they got TP
he's gonna
bot,
find
and Roar number 1 will not need the second. SaberLight ends up dropping here.
Yeah, if you can solo a 2300 HP and 30 armor Sand King as Beastmaster in one Roar, you can kill anyone in 2. He can solo the gyro. And as we've established, you and I, in this tournament, Lincoln's just not a favorable item in general. So, yeah, it's hard for Liquid to even buy it. Satanic gonna get pulled, but into the box.
He gets boxed, there's no one. Doesn't have his Roar back. Of course, could refresh, but low enough cooldown, you don't really need to worry about that too much. Yeah, Liquid without one member, so 4v5 for the next 30 seconds. And Satanic can now start to destroy your buildings in the mid lane. Liquid probably just have to give this up. Will-O-Wisp just placed, just in case somebody wants to actually try to defend. And possibly the last fortification of this game, unless Liquid can make some crazy comeback here. So that will be a second lane for Paravision. And now you can start thinking about the old Roche.
Oh, I thought you were going to say game 3.
Well, that too. Yeah, this is...
It's like, well, you've had plenty of time sitting in your base, pondering. Well, nobody's saying mouse this time.
Yeah, this is just a bad manners pause, I believe. Okay. The floor is vibrating, I think, is the issue. Not used to the base. Yeah. That's some good advertisement right there. My goodness.
Oh, what do you say? Wait, floor fixing. Are they bringing in a carpenter or what's going on?
I don't know. I don't know.
How do you fix the floor?
Well, I'm sure we'll find out in due time.
And how did it break? I think the bigger question.
My horse is neigh.
All right, Nineclass back with the voice lines.
I think the only way to combat this selloutness is to sell out yourself. No one. Only time will tell. Only one buyback in this game right now, and it's on the Paravision side.
Yep.
So next row should effectively close the book on this game number 2, but who knows what could happen. Liquid came back last game. It wasn't 30K net worth deficit, though. That's the only issue.
This is approaching. I wonder, I think we've had this conversation before. I wonder how many games in the history of this game have been recovered from a 1K GPM disadvantage. I've always considered that kind of the magic number where nobody ever wins.
Wait, you said 1K?
GPM.
Oh, per minute.
Yeah. So they're close, right? It's 30,000 lead in 33, so you give them another 5 minutes, Paravision's probably at 40K if Liquid do nothing. It's like borderline impossible, but some specific lineups can, of course, pull it off, but generally speaking, when it's this early on, you're looking at a 1K GPM lead, it is ridiculous. And, well, the win expectancy of this game, actually surprisingly, only 91% for the Radiant.
I mean, let's be fair, that thing's been broken for months.
Yeah, that's probably it.
Let's not even look at that graph anymore. It means literally nothing. Unless there's a Spectre in the game, that's usually right.
You know, the one carry is 10,000 gold ahead of the other carry, the one mid is 10,000 gold ahead of the other mid.
Yeah.
So the reason this is only a 30K lead is because of Tinker, and you're still that far down. If Tinker was a quote-unquote normal support, this would be more than a 1K GPM lead.
Yeah, no doubt.
He's pulling ahead of the other supports, even on the Radiant team.
All right, looks like we're ready to go. So 2 lanes, in case you just missed it, have been destroyed now. As Liquid facing a potential game number 3 coming up, and Paravision will likely just wait for this next Roche. And that should do it. Now the question is, does Liquid, I mean, do you fight high ground or do you just force the issue? Do you try to contest the Roche? You have to do something.
I actually don't know which one is easier, because I think the problem is even if you try to access the pit, you kind of can't kill, I don't think you can burst and kill Beastmaster. So you're going to be fighting into the 2 roars and traps. and Ignis out there, in your base at least you can have positional advantage, but at the same time, can you possibly defeat a TA with 2 Aegises? You can't beat Satanic.
Yeah, we established that last game.
He didn't write that this game so far. He hasn't cursed himself yet.
True.
The true challenge is to write that after you have Megas.
Yeah, that's the only
and
way
see
to
if you
ensure.
can somehow lose it again. That would be impressive.
All right, some dewarding from Paravision. They kind of swap sides here.
They know the smoke is
and
coming.
no one with the roar. The Lotus a little bit too late. Meanwhile, SaberLight has to deal with the Wheel of Wonder. No one spots BKB in retreat. Satanic was applying a lot of pressure to Brile. Another roar comes out from no one, and now the right clicks will suffice onto Mickey. Can't do too much. Just pops his ult, and that's it. SaberLight dead. Boxy as well as GG's come out. Means we are in fact going to a game number 3 in this lower bracket elimination match.
Yeah, Paravision read that play like a book. It was pretty obvious. They had 2 waves pushing into Liquid's base, so they must be doing a desperation smoke to try to catch us at Roche. We're going to take the high ground. We're going to just stay there and wait. We're going to break their smoke and turn it around on them immediately. So Paravision, not only do they win this game, they kind of crush it. And considering the lead they had in game number 1, I think when you consider the entirety of the series so far, they have to be the favorites going into the last game.
It does feel like they've been playing at a little bit of higher level. And, I mean, the Slark wasn't even banned this game, right?
I don't think so.
I felt like it was still good in game 1. They don't have to run it. They have a lot of other things up their sleeve, of course. But no one ending this game 11-2-11. I feel like he is definitely the player of the game here. Satanic ended up with more farm, but it felt like no one was really setting the table for his team.
Yeah, so many good plays. And this is looking like a really good Meepo game when they picked it. And the last pick from Liquid, the Dawnbreaker, it's hit or miss. It can be good against Meepo on occasion, but it's not one of those obvious historical counters like Elder Titan or Shaker or Wyvern. It's a lot more reliant on having a strong laning stage. Well, and the good news for SaberLight in that regard is, well, he's in charge of it himself. He's going to be laning against the Meepo. So
that's
if
right.
he wants to win this game, he needs to do well in lane, and I'm with the panel. I think this is the type of game where if Liquid falter in the laning stage, it's difficult to see a path to victory. If they come out ahead and they can weather the storm in the mid game, then their late game is definitely very potent. So
yeah, no one gets to play his Beastmaster again, and we saw what happened last game. That was a disgusting performance, in a good way, of course. And then DM's Kunkka adding extra tankiness to these Meepos. When the boat comes out, like all of this together with obviously Tinker heal, along with the defense matrix. It's going to be a lot to get through for Liquid, as Satanic will show himself. He's going to take a full Starbreaker actually to start things out. Gets Blinding Lit to the other side as well. He will find this move speed to get away eventually, but he's going to be in the lane very injured.
Well, fortunately for him, he is laning with one of the few heroes in Dota being played right now that has a heal in the laning stage, in the Warlock. If Tokalis doesn't skill heal here, that goes to show you just how good Fatal Bonds is. Okay, there we go.
Okay. And they have 2 heroes that heal as support, so just going to show how much they're buying into this tanky strategy.
Yeah, the Radiant lineup is stupid tanky. Nice pressure on Nineclass.
Yes, this is a lot of damage as Mickey is going to force out the Fairy Fire onto Nineclass, but this looks to be a death one way or another. First blood for Mickey and Team Liquid.
Yeah, this is the best lane for them in terms of matchups. I think the Jakiro PA lane is extremely powerful. And Kunkka Tinker needs a bit of time. They need a couple of levels to stabilize, so well done to Liquid for exploiting the weakness of that lane very early on here on level 1. We've already seen the mid lane played last game. It was pretty much a draw. No one pulled slightly ahead because you got first blood. Not happening this time. So I would assume they are just going to go neck and neck there. And bottom, that's the biggest wild card for me. Like, I would think on paper that the Dawn Caudle lane should be able to do quite well against this, but the problem is the way Dawn Caudle usually win their lanes is through consistent harassment. You got Warlock. He's going to heal up the Meepo every time they try to put pressure, such as now. Out goes the heal.
Yeah, this is going to be Starbreaker as well. As Nineclass taking a lot of damage in the top lane. He's going to pop the Fairy Fire, the Lotus, I should say, to live through the day. SaberLight. Looks like he's going to die, though, to Satanic's hands. So we talked about how this lane is kind of an unknown. So far, advantage Paravision.
Yeah. I mean, this is such a good Meepo game. If he also wins his lane, we've seen Satanic's performance on this hero already. Cause for concern for Liquid if that lane goes poorly. So they got to recover it. Of course, they are playing with Caudle, so they can choose to make stacks. Dawn is actually quite good at farming said stacks Could be similar logic to the Coddle Sand King offlanes that we've seen. DM, though, in trouble.
Yep, Torrent not going to hit.
We'll be backing off.
Just a little bit of chip damage from the Liquid side. As Ducalis was the one taking a beating bot. Just have to be a bit careful. And Satanic did go for the more Meepo facet, which gives you faster levels on the Meepo coming out. Get secondary Meepos, I should say. Have you seen the other one? What is the other one?
Well, it used to, the popular one used to be Pack Rat, right?
That's not a thing anymore, I think.
Right. So now you have Codependent.
Oh, right.
Which has, I think, had a really disgustingly high win rate in pubs and therefore got nerfed. It was the one that gave you more attack speed and armor the more Meepos were close together.
Yeah.
And I think it got cut almost in half. It used to give, I think, 7% attack speed and 2 armor, and now it gives 5% attack speed and 1 armor.
Yep, that is a nerf.
So he's still going for this one, of course. Now that he's level 3, he has the 2 Meepos.
And the Fatal Bonds. One of the more disgusting spells in lane, of course.
You really like the word disgusting today. Do you have an okay day?
Haven't eaten yet, so everything's disgusting right now. Brile in the mid lane, we'll be seeing Storm on him again, 14-3 as no one 19-6, a little bit of advantage for him. Earthbinds onto Boxy, Starbreaker, not enough as Boxy actually ends up dropping to Ducalis. And Warlock, definitely one of the more annoying heroes to play against in the laning stage. DM getting healed up via Nineclass, but Insania and Mickey want to finish the job as Brile actually gets solo killed in the mid lane. That is a much bigger kill to talk about. Insania does drop here. So 4-1 advantage for Paravision already, but yeah, that mid lane, we saw the CS advantage for no one, and he's putting that to good use in a solo kill.
I feel like that's just not allowed to happen. He killed the Storm at level 4 in a 1v1.
There he's going to see a replay. Man, he is really deep here. My goodness.
Yeah. Diving between the towers. I mean, again, this is kind of, I think for Brile as well, maybe slightly uncharted territory. And sure, he played against it in game number 1, but there might have been a couple of little things that went differently there that didn't this time. And then that's when experience really starts mattering with, have you been in this position before?
Yeah.
And getting dove behind your tier 1 tower like that by a Beastmaster level 330, not exactly what you're used to, a Storm Spirit. So he's like, should I call in support? Am I actually fine?
And when no one hits 6, Brile just can't be in lane, I feel like.
Yeah, that's actually, he could solo him behind the tower.
The good news for Brile is the supports on Paravision not exactly that fearsome as in terms of ganking potential with the Tinker.
The bad news is he's level 4 against 6, and he got roared.
There he goes. Boars are going to slow him to a crawl. Boxy's here though with the blinding light. Will that be enough though? The Boar's still doing a lot of damage.
Oh my god.
And Ducalis is here as well, and he actually snipes the kill from no one. Either way, another death for Brile in the mid lane. Not the greatest for Liquid, and this opens up the bottom lane for a little bit of harassment onto SaberLight.
And as we pointed out, Paravision don't have the best ganking supports, but if all you need is a 50 damage, then Warlock can come in and press one button and that'll do the job, right?
He just right-click, that's all he did.
Put a Fatal Bonds and hit him once. That was enough. And to add insult to injury, Liquid rotated both supports to try to help and still lost.
Yeah.
So now we've got the Jakiro as well as Coddle on a little bit of a detour.
This
now
next...
the 6-minute rune, you cannot just give this to Beastmaster. If this is a strong one, he's going to take the tower and force rotation again.
Let's see where the rune spawns. Another Fatal Bonds comes out.
Haste top. Nineclass will grab it and start chasing.
Yep.
Okay, this is ambitious.
Show his prowess. Forces out one spell, at least SaberLight though. In his triangle, he's going to get Earthbound by Satanic. Tries to hammer away. Another Earthbind comes out. Meepo gets Star broken now. I think he might be able to get this kill. Actually goes to the south, and Boxy from the north will assist in the ways that he can.
Yeah. Satanic will not get the kill, and SaberLight will live. But the state of this game is Liquid are trying to put out fires everywhere.
Satanic,
map is
or
burning.
no one. Roar onto Insania by the tier 1 tower. That's a freebie.
Trying his very best to get the last hit.
The only silver lining here is because all these spells are being used, it looks like it will be a trade of wisdom runes.
Yeah.
Or shrines, I guess they're called now.
Pretty thin lining, but you got to look for those right now.
I mean, that could have... we've seen games end effectively with the wisdom shrines being taken by one team. If this happened for Paravision, I mean... That would have been super rough.
If they also get 2 wisdoms here, then you're effectively like... You have nothing going for you for Liquid for the next 5 minutes. This way they at least have a chance. Brile's about to hit 6, so he's unlocked, and he's, fortunately for him, in a bad Storm game, like when you're struggling, at the very least, if you're playing with Caudle, that can cover some of the gaps. DM, X marked.
X on to Mickey with the Torrent to follow. Earthbind comes up. Nice Ice Path from Insania, but here comes the Golem. Ducalis level 6 already versus Insania's level 4. That's the position 1 and 5 dead for Liquid. And this is so close to just being a complete snowball for Paravision.
Yeah. This will be Liquid's biggest challenge of the entire tournament. I think this game state, honestly, the game state now, it's harder than game number 1 when they were furthest behind. Like in that game, you could easily see, okay, if they pull this really difficult thing off, they can turn it around. Right now, they have so little to work with. Dawn isn't even 6 yet. You have a Storm with almost nothing. Your carry's a PA, she's going to need to farm. Your support duo doesn't play make. So this is like, this could just flat out come crumbling down if they don't sharpen up very, very soon. 8 minutes in, about to be a 4,000 net worth lead. They even have a fat stack here while crushing all lanes. And that's the power of a Warlock that gets a couple of assists. He got an assist down bottom. He got a kill together with the Beastmaster in mid. So Black Grimoire, level 6. 2 kills to boot from that one.
Yeah, that was a super strong power spike. This tier 1 tower will be defended, but yeah, Liquid in dire straits right now. And the question is, what can Mickey get out of the map at the moment? He will be going Battle Fury, which is no surprise. It's pretty much a given. You have to go for this.
I think the way you play this map right now is you try, either you play defense, and which is very difficult, granted, against this lineup, but at the very least you have Blinding Light and Dawn ulti. So if you get dove in towers, you get some counterplay. If you want to play offensively, I genuinely only see one play, and it has to come from Bryle. So he needs to jump someone, you Dawn ulti in, you combo it with maybe a Jakiro spell or two and get a kill.
Radiant's middle tower is
But even those heroes combined, I don't know if you can kill a hero like Beastmaster. No one has 2,000 HP minute 9. Like, how are you going to kill this guy?
Yeah.
It's a tall order when you're low on damage and you lose your lanes. Dota gets really hard to play really fast. See if they can make some magic happen here. Levels will be the name of the game. Insania is level 4.5 on Jakiro. So he's got a lot of growth to be coming. Foxy close to 6. Maybe some Spirit Form recall plays could be a way of outmaneuvering Pari as well.
10-minute treads for Bryle just completed, just to show the state of affairs right now for this mid laner. No one level 9, as Nineclass will be creating some space with the Martian Machines, and this is a free tower finally for Paravision. DM coming in as well. Has his combo at the ready, but Bryle, Spidey senses tingling a bit. I mean, that's the one thing for Liquid, I suppose. Silver lining is DM didn't go super crazy in lane. His net worth is roughly about what these other cores on Liquid have.
He has the toughest matchup for sure out of his team.
But this is bad for Liquid.
Yeah.
Paravision taking stacks that were supposed to be for the Liquid side.
And unfortunately, Liquid probably knew that was happening, and they just can't do anything about it. They can't fight. Their 5-man is not nearly strong enough, so they're making the right call giving it up. If you want to make moves, it has to be skirmishes. The map has to be split thin so that you can find 2v2s and then outnumber with a Dawn ulti. If you're in an area where the enemy team's already set up, advancing to a Warlock level 7 already and a Beastmaster and the Tinker, the zone control is incredible from Paravision. And they recognize it. They're just going to take towers. Like, what are you going to do about it?
It's a 3-tower advantage already, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. As no one getting ever so close to his Aghanim Scepter. Satanic in the meantime has the Dragon Lance and will be an eventual Aghanim Scepter. Oh, it looks like he's going the Diffusal first, actually. That's done.
Yep. Fast Atos on Nineclass. For the Storm, for the TA. Keep them a little bit in place to allow something like an X-Mark to reach, or an Earthbind, or Aurora, of course.
Dire are scanning.
And he's straight up queuing up Dagger afterwards. Notice how different of a school of thought this is for Tinker from what we saw from Insania last game. I'm not going to say one is better than the other. It's just a very, very different way of approaching the hero. Nineclass is playing full offense. His next item is Dagger. So no...
Liquid have to get something out of this. Satanic, he's going to be popping the smoke. There's the initiation from Bryle, the Solar Guardian coming in with the Starbreaker to follow. Down goes Meepo, the biggest kill he could possibly get for Liquid. Oh, but the Fatal Bonds does connect onto several heroes. Can they catch up is the question. No one from the low ground needs to catch someone. They get the Atos onto the Jakiro as Ducalis looking for a good target for his Golem. SaberLight actually TPs out into the trees, so all they get is the Jakiro in the end. So a good fight there for Liquid, able to kind of spread eagle for the most part. They just spread in every direction, and they only lose one as a result.
I think this is very telling for the game state that they 4-man smoke there and use Donald to kill one hero. Like they needed, they felt like they had to bring everything to make sure they get the Meepo there, and after they get fatally bonded, they have to just immediately disengage completely. Fortunately for them, a good disengage. They found a good way into the trees to TP out a couple of heroes and only lost the one, but didn't really progress the game with that.
Well, we got the Blade Mail now for DM.
And no one is about to get Ags, and he's farming the enemy Ancients minute 13, and he's not worried at all. Just full up. Because Insania is drawing the circle here. He's like, we have to get control of this area, because otherwise we're just getting full-on out-farmed, and he's correct. How are you going to do it?
Will this be the play for Paravision with this timing to go for the Wisdom Shrine now on this side? We'll see if they prioritize that. I mean, they have everything but Roar up at the moment.
I think the perfect play right now is get the enemy Wisdom Shrine, prepare for a 15-minute Tormentor, and then go straight Roach. I think you can get all 3 objectives back-to-back.
Yeah.
The alternative is this, which I thought maybe they would do because the Ag's timing is so good to just make this play immediately.
Cheeky move from Insania, though.
Just straight up go for Roche. Yep, they will.
They will actually get both potentially, although you can see SaberLight a little scared to go for his own.
Yeah. I mean, they might think PARIVISION is there because, well, they're not on their own and they're not showing on the lane. So are they just setting a trap? But no, it's the Ag's reveal to immediate Roshan.
Man.
And yeah, they could Tormentor in 1 minute. And before that, if they want to check a Wisdom Shrine, they can. It's not the end of the world for PARIVISION if they get neither of them. They're so far ahead that it's not important. But of course, it is still nice.
And Blink almost done for Nineclass now. As Liquid showing in the top lane. Looks like they'll be backing away, but yeah, I do agree. Tormentor coming up, that is gonna be the play for Paravision.
Pretty straightforward.
And Liquid, no way to really engage into this. I mean, it's not even just about the net worth lead right now. Let's look at the type of team fight that Paravision has. It is so difficult to fight when these are all up.
And this is, I would argue, this is when Dota is the easiest to play. It's like, you
when
can
you're up 7K at 15 minutes?
You can just look at the clock and you can plan a minute ahead. You're like, okay, we want to do this in 1 minute, we want to do this thing in the next minute.
Yeah.
Because you know that as long as you're grouped up, you're kind of impenetrable, so you just choose what objective is the most important one for you next. And now, I wonder, okay, 9K lead, you've got the Aegis, you've just got the Shard. I think you just take top tower, and you take mid tower, and then you take bot tower. Unless you're feeling that strong that you just try to go for a lane of barracks already, I think that's a little bit crazy and completely unnecessary. So I like to just see PARIVISION do something like this. You know, a 4-1 split, you keep Meepo on one side and the others on the opposite side. And play around the fact that Beastmaster is easily the strongest hero in the game right now, especially with an Aegis.
Yep, Liquid don't want to touch this. This is a one-man army right now. He will be finishing Blink relatively shortly as well. I mean, the Illuminates are pretty annoying to deal with. Killing these creeps off so that the push won't be nearly as effective. But no one, not going to be too bothered.
No, he's got another wave coming now, so he can start going to work. Of course, the Coddle will do his best to defend, but actually he recalled himself away.
Yeah, and he's getting the Blink delivered to him now, so this could be a good reveal timing for no one as well in the tree line.
You can
see how much he cares about that.
He's tired of the Coddle. He's trying to cut behind him, but Boxy, one step ahead, has already left. They did the macro pyre play to defend that wave, but now the next one's coming. What is Insania going to do about this wave?
Yeah, these are the rat-type tactics that we're used to seeing when teams are down heavily at this stage of the game. No one will show the Blink at the tower, doesn't really care if they can see it. And SaberLight, he's going to be spotted by Nineclass. There's a Warp Flare onto SaberLight. He's able to use the Solar Guardian to get away, though, to the top side of the map. As Bryle going to try to focus on no one. That is a very scary proposition, my friend. Ice Path's not going to hit. A little bit of mana coming out. Chaotic offering as well to ensure the death of Bryle. No one. Remember, he has Aegis. He is surrounded, though. 1 versus 4. Can they kill him? I'm not even sure. We'll see. Ice Path, Midgame with the Phantom Strike, and they do get him in the end. Big kill for Liquid. It does cost them Bryle, but that is Aegis down and 1 Beastmaster life as well.
I mean, that's the biggest win Liquid have had all game.
This would be even bigger as Nineclass shows up, has a Warp Flare at the ready. SaberLight gets a nice stun going off, but the Meepo just destroying the cuddle. A nice Ice Pack coming out from Insania as Nineclass a nice torrent on the 2 heroes into the boat as DM shows up just in time. They're going to lose the Tinker, though. Another beautiful Starbreakers. The Meepo's super low. Satanic is dead. Somehow Liquid are living through this, and DM left to his own devices. I say that as Ducalis is there with the Shadow Word, though. Do they have the catch? Hammer's on the cooldown right now. Midgame will get 1 slow. The X onto SaberLight, using that shard to full effect to dodge it, essentially. Down goes Ducalis on top of all of that. I have no idea how Liquid are finding kills, but not too shabby at all.
This is such an important moment for them. This should be the hardest part of the game, and they're staying afloat right now. They were 10k down, now it's 7. I mean, it's still not a great lookout, but the fact that they just spread a little bit too thin on Paravision, right? Liquid took advantage of the fact that Paravision were farming jungle. I think they were farming jungle and 2 heroes, and then they made an aggressive move up top with Beastmaster +1. So while the Beastmaster is incredibly strong and almost managed to solo the Storm and got a little bit of help from the Golem, Liquid just outnumbered them. They just TP'd heroes in, they use recall. You gotta be a little bit careful on Paravision not to drop the ball here. You've built yourself an incredibly strong early mid game, and all it takes now is to not slip up, spread yourselves too thin, and let Liquid get a chance to come back.
Insania spotted by the Lotus Pool. Warp Flare. Such a weird spell. Roar comes out from no one to ensure that this is a dead twin-headed dragon. Excuse me. My goodness.
I hardly knew her.
Poor thing. Well, the lead has gone down from 11 to 7k.
Yeah, big item alert here, Kunkka. Pipe coming up. The panel was talking about this. What are you going to do when DM has pipe and he plays together with Meepo? So this is the next level of challenge now for Liquid. They passed the first trial. Now comes the harder part, because now Paravision are likely not going to make the same slip up, at least not in the same fashion, by spreading that thin. And they have more tankiness to boot this time. So still an uphill battle to say the least for Liquid. Paravision get to keep playing the map and keep farming. We've talked a lot about the Beastmaster and the Meepo, but keep in mind, Nineclass is going to be the 4th core of this game. He's going Blink, Atos, Ags. He is going full carry Tinker.
Yeah,
that's another problem you have to address.
Super scary. And he's already almost halfway done with the Ags as well.
He's
so
very rich.
This won't be
he's
too
got the
far
greedy
away.
boss.
SaberLight shows. SaberLight gets to the high ground, but the Chaotic Offering used, and this will be a dead Dawnbreaker. Did cost them the Chaotic, so pretty long cooldown, but they can use the Golem to push, of course.
Pretty big kill. He was dominating, so there's some bonus cash from that one. And the timing of this play from Paravision probably gives them both wisdoms as well. We're approaching 21 minutes. Oh, Nineclass.
Oh, he gets the Warp Flare. Beautifully done, making past the BKB. He's going to try to spin this on Nineclass as DM will show up with the boat, making everyone tankier. Midgame, the BKB was activated via the X, as Bryle barely gets away with no mana. Boxy taken out, though, by no one. And Bryle,
look at the clock.
Is pretty close to X time. Can he actually get this combo off? Indeed. Down goes Bryle again. So Paravision showing up in numbers, and it works out quite well for them.
Silver lining there for Liquid. Ducalis did not look at the clock, so he actually ran away from the enemy wisdom as it was activating.
Oh my.
So they will get this. That's at least something. They absolutely should have lost both shrines as well. Now they'll at least get one of those for some experience, and that's nice for Mickey, closing in on level 18 for the higher level of Coup de Grace for some potential chance of killing this Omega Meepo. As we know, we've already seen Satanic showcase the Scepter.
Yeah,
and you would imagine the next Aegis will go on him. The last time they had to deal with Beastmaster, Meepo and Midgame, generally tends to hog that Aegis because he's so difficult to kill the first time, and the second time he has such an amazing impact when he respawns. Oh, this is a good read from no one.
SaberLight, Roar is there. DM at the ready. The BKB was already popped from SaberLight, trying to get to the other side to his fountain. He'll find it, but the X to bring him back. No one's stuck on the other side, though. We'll have to try to run away while taking some burn damage.
I think DM pulled him back a little bit too early there. There might have been a play if he let it go max duration. Actually, I think he probably did. Never mind. That was not possible. It was close. But with the change to X mark, making it 3 seconds instead of 4, I don't think that was possible in that instance. The old X might have got him. But if nothing else for Paravision, they still continue to run the map. They are the ones forcing defensive BKBs out of the PA, out of the Dawnbreaker. Still shoving in the waves, but Liquid stay afloat. We know these late game PAs can get the job done. That's a big item alert, though.
Yeah.
Dude, he is massive. He has the same net worth as SaberLight.
He has more than DM on
Nineclass.
position 3 on his team, for God's sake. Absolutely ridiculous.
Tinker, in a nutshell. Smoke up.
Smoke from Liquid.
They'll find DM. Do they want him, though? They're not even choosing to jump on him. He's too tanky.
There's only so many targets that are not tanky, though.
Yeah, you gotta pick someone, but...
Ducalis would be a nice choice if you could stun lock him.
Break the smoke and back off.
And Roche.
Bryle!
Up soon, but the Roar comes out onto Bryle. 4-step outside the Solar Guardian. Bryle, though, has enough mana to zip away. Chaotic Offering used in a counter-initiation style SaberLight. He's going to be caught off guard. Will pop the BKB. Trying to find somebody. Ends up being kind of a waste, though. No one's already popped his. Mickey as well. No more golden item for any of you young lads. Ice Pat's going to clip DM. Earthbind's... Everyone's dodging these spells right now. Finally, the Atos Head is a single target spell, so you cannot miss it. Tidal Wave back. Blinding Light. Doesn't matter. Finally, a kill. And that is Insania going to his grave. There's no creep wave, so the backdoor protection's there for the tier 2.
Yeah. And that's really big once again for Paravision. You reduce the PA BKB and the Storm BKB and the Dawn, all three. The big item of the game that's Liquid's kind of hope to stand their ground against the onslaught that Paravision is bringing is dwindling by the minute. And now Roshan, of course,
about to spawn.
Paravision know it's possible, and they're more or less timing this perfectly.
Leave the board
seconds
there.
Okay, that's very unfortunate, as a matter of fact. Might want to leave the boar in there, but...
Yeah, but then you get less farm, Cinderin. Don't you understand?
True. I mean, the maximum respawn time was approaching, so a little bit of a blunder there, but they can afford...
Maybe no one thinks he has the old Hawk that could be sent to that location. Mickey can be found by Nineclass, or is it the other way around? That's the Aghanim Scepter being showcased, of course. With the laser, no one coming in with the Roar. 2 versus 1 now, another laser to follow suit. Getting extremely low, the Ice Pack though, into the Phantom Strike. Mickey actually finds the distance. Even a Blood Grenade used at 25 minutes. Mickey barely dodges the axes, but in the meantime, Bryle is caught off guard. Has to pop the BKB and retreat again.
That's a really big heads-up play from Boxy to recall himself into that play. The PA looked as good as dead, but he buys a little bit of time with the Blinding Light, and they connect the Jakiro for the Phantom Strike reset.
And Mickey didn't use BKB at all during that, by the way.
I think he didn't have it.
It was on cooldown.
I think it was still on cooldown from the previous. I think so, yeah, because, I mean, Paravision are playing hyper-aggressive. They are trying their best to not give Liquid a single lane across the river. They will get the bottom lane across the river, but it comes at a cost.
Yep, Roche number 2 for Paravision.
And it will indeed go on to Satanic. This is one of those, you know, he's got Axe, he's got Disperser, and he's got Dragonlance, soon to be Blink. This is when a lot of Meepo games end. So the upcoming fight for Liquid could be the last one unless they execute it properly. Bryle?
Oh, we got the Solar Guardian being used. Actually stuns 3 targets. This Nineclass taking the brunt of the damage. Already at half HP. The Blinding Light in a retreat, though. And this means that's going to isolate the Caudal. So Boxy takes the tumble. No way to get back in this game.
And
there's no one in company. Yeah, they're just getting everything on the map right now.
Bring in Tinker. Looks like they don't need to bring the Meepo, so they can stay out on the map with him and keep some aggressive presence. Of course, Tinker, a wonderful hero to have for this. He has a heal and a barrier. So you can do it with just the 3 of them, and Ducalis also has a heal, so he can get back up to full if he wants. 16 1,000 the lead. Gotta say, in all 3 games of this series, Paravision has just flat out played better in the early game.
Yep.
Every single game. And the first game, Liquid made a kind of heroic comeback in that one. It's not a viable strategy to have to come back every game.
It's the
Definitely
old,
don't want to be in this position.
it's the old eternal envy strategy, of course. As
Mistimed the Manta,
Yeah,
that's
he
gonna have to BKB.
Torrent is there. He's already at half health, has to BKB in retreat again. Does have
Oh, nice
target.
flick on his Manta.
Yeah, that's very nice.
It's something.
The fact that you have to go Manta on a PA never feels good. The
I was
laser
about
is
to
really
say.
annoying. The Earthbind's super annoying.
Under a radiant
I mean, it
scanning.
provides extra targets for Aurora, I guess, but doesn't feel good. Xania, goodbye.
Chose to
Good
cast
start.
a spell on the side lane.
That's not allowed.
Yeah, that's a mistake, apparently. Just don't play your hero.
Scotty's next for Satanic. Still has 3 minutes on this Aegis, and I assume that we're going to be seeing this high ground push very shortly. I mean, do they need to get a pick off? I feel like not. I mean, it would be nice, but
They don't need to, but I think it's the best way to play the game is to not brute force in 5v5. I don't think it's necessary. You should be gaining 500 to 1,000 GPM more than the enemy team just from raw lane farm and map control. And of course, this is, again, the luxury about Tinker. When you're winning like this, he can farm the jungle that you don't want to be in and still be present in the fights. So all of this dead farm in the Radiant jungle when you're playing offensively with your other 4 heroes, Tinker can go and grab it whenever he wants. You keep scaling, you keep controlling the map simultaneously. We also haven't talked about this, but he has the luxury of teleporting onto Beastmaster summons, right? So he can even strategically place a boar to make sure that Nineclass can always connect to the fight and the location you want to play.
now it's you. My goodness. Very sad to see Insania die 7 times without a kill.
Yeah. It's tough.
Dire's middle tower is
We've been
under
seeing the other facet a lot on Jakiro, the attack one.
Yep, true.
Is using the Ice Path one this game as Satanic will be dispersing himself to get closer to SaberLight, who will have to BKB TP, and Night falls away successfully. Nightfall with a little tear in his eye, wherever he is.
Uh-oh, Bryle. Oh!
Okay, a
No
little
one
greedy.
greedy there,
Very
casting
greedy.
access first, but Bryle actually BKB'd anyway
No.
on his way out. Maybe it was a 6-seconder already, then it kind of doesn't matter so much, but well, now it's down to 6, the PA BKB down to 6, and the Dawnbreaker BKB, also down to 6.
Oh.
So yeah, that's concerning for the side of Liquid, among other things in this game, such as the odds. They're kind of concerning. 101. I think it's accurate though.
Yeah.
Kind of not much to hold on to here for Liquid unless you get some sort of ridiculous team fight going, but the enemy lineup it's just stalwart, you know?
No one goes to the high ground, forces more mana to be used from Bryle. He can just go back to the fountain, but there's the first fortification. Roshan's banner is placed though, so these creeps shall not die quite yet. Insania needs to try to aggro them a bit, but then he puts himself in a precarious spot. And Satanic will rip through these buildings. Blinding Light, not going to be used to full effect here. Building down, now focusing on the range racks. Do they try to defend this? Or do they wait for a little bit more farm? They're going to get the attempted initiation here, but they're going to turn around to Coddle instead. He's dead right off the bat as SaberLight found on the other side of the map trying to use the Solar Guardian, but already 2 supports are dead in your base as Nineclass actually forcing rotation of Midgame. Finally, they get the stun via Bryle, and they will finally take out the Tinker, but how much will it cost?
Nineclass is keeping 3 heroes busy while they lose their base.
22k lead for Paravision, rather. Aegis is down, though. I mean, how defensive or how passive do Paravision even want to be without the Aegis? Feels like they are in the driver's seat.
I really like the discipline of backing off with Tinker dead. I think it's the right call. You could debate whether it was the right thing for Nineclass to do to keep the heroes fighting him at bot half instead of being with his team, because maybe you could just end it by sticking together, but either way, they recognize how important the Tinker is, so.
Every time no one blinks in, someone BKBs.
There's that woof again.
Yep.
We need the woof lore.
Yeah, maybe Lyrical can ask what that's all about. Hopefully that's appropriate for broadcast, though, so be careful, Lyrical.
Yeah.
Do they wait for Roche, you think? It's still quite a ways away.
I personally think it's fine to do that. The most important thing is that you don't start playing passively while you wait for Roche. Just keep pushing out the lanes, keep playing on the enemy side of the map, keep placing aggressive vision. Eventually, stuff like this is going to happen.
Chivas.
And this time, he does not have the BKB.
This time.
He is gone.
Tinker coming into play. Oh, the congregations up the deep wasn't quite enough to save El SaberLighto.
He's dead for 70. Now you don't need an Aegis.
Very true. 5v4.
And Satanic Eden has a shield rune. I mean,
yeah, he's got the Scotty. He has a shield rune. Pretty dirty stuff. And the Nullifier was on SaberLight, by the way, but like you said, dead for a minute. This building destroyed, so second set of racks.
They got the
likely going to be taken. The X marks into the Torrent, Boxy, into the tidal wave onto 2 heroes. Blinding Light's not going to be enough. Boxy dies in an instant as Brown pops the BKB. This is the last attempted stand from Liquid. Everything being applied to Midgame. Has the Satanic being popped, healing to a high degree, but it has to try to get away. Nice ice path on the several heroes again, but their buildings are dying here. Tidal wave onto 3 heroes. Midgame getting crit down. Midgame gets the Phantom Strike, but it's too late. Down he goes again. That's 4 dead for Liquid, and Paravision will win this game number 3.